Commentary coverage from the Toyota Save Mart 350 race at Sonoma Raceway for the NASCAR Cup Series. We're a little bit past the halfway mark on the overall NASCAR season, heading down the home stretch of the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series. Back-to-back road course races on the schedule, with the Chicago Street Race taking place a week ago, and obviously again here today at Sonoma in Wine Country. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. 150 likes will be our like goal for today's stream. Already at 10 right off the rip, so appreciate everybody that is tuning in here for the early going of this one. Thanks for everybody that watched our NASCAR 08 stream with the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. We did get the win with Casey Kane in that race. And so now it is time to watch some real racing here today and bring you guys the full live commentary coverage with that. 110 laps are scheduled distance for this one here today. The Xfinity race yesterday, 79 laps. So what was a simple two-stopper yesterday, we're going to have 3 stops and a little bit more strategy to go along with that in today's race. As we get today's live commentary stream started, per usual, we do some NASCAR trivia on the channel. So we'll go to sporkle.com and we will try to find a Sonoma-based NASCAR quiz. Now, we did one yesterday during practice and qualifying. In between practice and qualifying, we did the Sonoma top 10 finishers of every Sonoma race. So I'm curious to see what else we have here that we can find for today's quiz. New all-time laps led at Sonoma. I guess we'll do that one. 20 minutes on the clock, and we have to name 73 drivers who have ever led a lap at Sonoma. And you guys can play along in the chat. So let me get the chat up on my phone real quick, and then I'll get this quiz started. Got a lot of notifications. I was away from my phone for a couple hours with the last stream. All right. None of them were important. Somebody was trying to call me or something. All right, there we go. Chat's up. Bam Hall, Thomas Forbes, Stephen Harvey, Joe Rochester, and others. Welcome to the stream. All right, anybody who's ever led a lap at Sonoma. Jamie McMurray. I don't know why he was the first that popped to mind. Earnhardt, Jr. and Sr. Only 9 laps for Dale Jr. Kyle Larson, former winner here. Chase Elliott has not won here, but Bill Elliott's on the list. Actually, what year does this go to? 2017 was the last updated. All right, so like Ryan Blaney's probably not on here. Byron's not going to be on here. Ryan Newman, I'm sure, is on the list. Kevin Harvick, former winner. Both the Busch brothers, former winners here. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and that'll give us Robbie Gordon as well. Scott Pruitt, ever lead here? No, he did not. What about Boris Said? Yep, Boris Said. Ron Fellows. Yep. Regan Smith. Paul Menard. I don't know. I'm jumping all over the board on this one. Brian Vickers. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. The Burtons. The Labontes. Gary Gant. Smart. Allison. Davies on the list. Cool Wiki. No. Allen's not on here. Clint Boyer. Former winner. Truex. Former winner. Tony Stewart. Former winner. Jerry Nadeau. Had some good runs here. Former pole sitter, too. Topic is the anybody who's ever led a lap at Sonoma. No Chastain. Suarez, not on the list. But Eric Jones. Eric Jones is on the list. It was last updated in 2017. Keselowski. Logano. Bobby Hamilton. just because. Jimmy Spencer, just because. Ricky Craven, just because. Okay, no, he's not on here. Probably just before his time. Rick Mast. Allmendinger. Montoya. Ambrose. Strummy, no. Sorensen, no. Yaley, no. Leffler, no. Denny Hamlin. There we go. Dylan, no. Yeah, Bodine. Carl Edwards. What's the other Edwards I got? Carl Edwards is on here twice for some reason. So there's actually only 72 drivers who have led at Sonoma. That was weird. Sterling Marlin. I haven't put him yet. Ernie Irvin. Ricky Rudd. Oh, I already put Ricky. Skinner's not on the list. Casey Mears. Casey Kane. Scott Riggs. Nope. Jeremy Mayfield. Probably not. Kyle Petty. Yes, Ricky Rudd did get ripped off one time. He does have a win here too, though. Michael Waltrip, Daryl Waltrip, Steve Park. Oh, okay, he's not on here. That's a little bit surprising. Jeff Green? No. McDowell? No. Roots and Men. Okay. Pontier. Who is the... Oh, I can't remember how to spell his name. That Hoer guy that I didn't... I think I tried to spell it correctly. Who else was on that list yesterday? Wilson. Rick Wilson's not on here. Who else was on that list that I missed of names? Well, Penny Schrader's on here. Put Morgan Shepherd too while we're at it. Yeah, okay. So I did spell Hoer correctly, but he was not on the list. Not today. That might be the only time we ever see him on one. John Andretti sure has led. Hillen. Bobby Hillen Jr., yes. Kenny Irwin Jr., nope. Not him. Dave Marcus. At 12 minutes yet. Paul Tracy? Why not? Nope. It's worth a try. I don't know if he ever ran a cup race. Foyt Jr. Unser ever run lead? No. I was thinking of maybe Junior. Hornish. Hornish isn't even on here. Andy Lally? Nemechek. No, jeez. Striking out. Striking out. I got Paul Menard. Tried Hornish. I'm surprised he wasn't on here. I do have Davey Allison. 182 laps led. Who am I missing still? Missing a big name. 182 laps. I don't know who I forgot. Oh, Rusty Wallace. That's probably who that is. Yeah, okay. And then we got Kenny Wallace with that. I'm still trying to think back to who was on that list yesterday. There were only 4 names we missed, and we already have 2 of them. At least 2. There's one more that's slipping me that we always miss on these lists. Johnny Benson. Good job. Good job, T-Van. Anybody who's ever led a lap at Sonoma is our quiz for today. David Rudiman, did I put him yet? I don't think he was on the list. Tony Raines? I do have the Earnhardts. He wasn't around at this time. First race was in 89. I tried Presley already. He's not on the list. Who else was I missing yesterday? Joe Ruttman. Oh, of course. The one time I try to remember his name. Same for Rick Wilson, because I always seem to forget those two on these kinds of quizzes. They don't pop up. Go figure. I'll put Moffitt. I mean, we could think of anybody at this point. Dale Jarrett. Jeez. Elliott Sadler. Okay. Got 2 more. Got 59 of 73. 14 names left. That's still quite a few. You got 9 minutes. Hornaday? No. What about Mike Bliss? Nope. Jack Sprague. Robert Sprague. What the heck? No way I would have gotten that. I put Sprague for Jack Sprague, and we got Robert Sprague instead. I got lucky with that one. Good thing the same last names count. Oh, who have I not named yet? Golly. Josh Wise. Is there a Jackson? Stephen Light. Nope. Landon Castle. Oh. See, it's hard to lead during green flag pit stops because of how long the road course is. It's really tough for guys that can usually stay out like under caution and lead. Doesn't usually happen in road courses much. I have Casey Kane already, Lobanis. I got Jeff Green. Green wasn't even on the list, but I did put him. I don't think there's anybody in the chat that has been named that I haven't put yet. Did I put Ambrose? Yeah, I did. I tried. So I put Jones for Eric Jones. He already came up. And then Reed Sorensen. I tried. He didn't pop up. I already have Boris said. Max Pappas? No. Our quiz this week again. Anybody who's ever led a lap at Sonoma. Wally Dallenbach. Oh, I felt good about that. Dang it. Bill Parsons. This is tough. How many names do you think are going to be on here I've never heard of before? Dick Trickle. Nothing. JD McDuffie. Nope. Got beers. I think I tried Sauter already. Tommy Kendall? No. I don't know who that is. Kevin Conway. Why not? Danica Patrick. Oh my gosh. How have I not named Danica yet? Oh wow. Yeah, 3 laps. Almirola. I didn't circle around to him at all. Ah. Dang it. Kligerman. No Parker. No Parker. LaJoy. Got Boris said. I tried Foyt. It didn't work. Again, the first race was an 89. I didn't put Greg Biffle. Wow. David Reagan. Hang on. I missed quite a few Roush guys. Trevor Bain. Okay, I only got Biffle. I would have been sad if I forgot my man, the Biff. That would have been very tough. Scott Wimmer. Nope. Mater not on the list. I tried Dario Franchitti. He didn't pop up either. Lazaro. I don't know who that is. But he's not on here. Kevin LePage. Nope. Got Brad. I tried Scott Riggs. He wasn't on here. Got 3.5 minutes. I mean, I'm stumped. We've had what, like 3 names in the last since 9 minutes, so 6 minutes, 5.5, 6 minutes. We've only got 3 of them. I tried Ryan Fellows, and he is already on here. Everybody who's led 22 laps or less, one with 22, 11, then everybody else is single digits. Justin Allgaier, maybe? Michael Annette? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't know who that is, but I'll try it. Bernstein. Hey, Tolsma. Yeah, I got Bill Elliott. Larry Pearson. Nope. Simo, not. Suarez, no. Got Wallace. I don't know. 2 minutes. Neil Bonnet. Nope. This is impossible, man. I hope we're above average. We have to be. I mean, we've gone through so many names that are not on the list. Got the Labanis already. I got Nemechek. Or at least tried of those names. They weren't necessarily all on here. There's got to be some names I've never heard of. Especially with this being a road course. Yes, they did, Mike G. Fon 1771, thanks for tuning in. I tried Pruitt. He wasn't on the list, which I was surprised about that. I'm out of ideas. I tried Mike Bliss. "30 seconds. Like, it's like he ever really raced in Cup. David Starr. Oh, man. Well, let's see. Scott Pruitt was on here. I swear I put Pruitt. I put him super early in the quiz. The heck? Scott Speed. Oh, I didn't even think about that. David Gilliland. Chris Buescher. Oh my gosh. It always sucks when you forget an active driver on these quizzes. Chris Buescher. Mike Chase. I don't even know who that is. I swear I typed out Tommy Kendall because somebody said Tommy Kendall in the chat earlier. Unless I only used one L. I might have only used one L on Kendall. There's no way I spelled Scott Pruitt's name wrong. I mean, I'd have to go back in the stream just to see, but Matthias Ekstrom. No chance in hell I would have gotten that. Alan Kulwicki. I put Kulwicki earlier in the quiz. I swear I put like 3 of these names. And they didn't pop up. I know for a fact I put Alan Kulwicki and Scott Pruitt. And I typed out Kendall, but I might have only had one L on that, so I'll give myself a pass there. Did I only have one T on Pruitt? Is maybe that what I did? But I swear I only had one T on Pruitt the last few times. I don't know. Matthias Ekstrom, though. I have no idea who that is. I don't know Mike Chase off the top of my head either. Or John Krebs. I didn't even see that guy. Krebs. Krebs. They have to be road course guys, you would assume. Especially Matthias Ekstrom. That just sounds like a road course name when it comes to racing. Someone mentioned Kendall earlier. Yeah, that's why I put Kendall, because I wouldn't have thought of that. All right, well, did I get the average score? 85%. We got above average. That was tough. That was a tough quiz, that's for sure. Yeah, there's some on there I really wish. Well, there's 3 of them on there that I did put. I don't know how Kulwicki didn't end up popping up. I don't know what kind of games we're playing here with that and Scott Pruitt, because Pruitt was like one of the first names I threw out early in the quiz. I don't know. And then Carl Edwards was on here twice, so it could have been a glitch with the quiz. Because Carl Edwards was on here with, I want to see, he had 40 laps led and 64, apparently. I don't know how that happens. Unless there's two dudes with the same name, Carl Edwards, that raced in NASCAR and led laps at Sonoma, but as many as there was, I don't think that that's possible. Greg Sachs was on the list too. I don't think I went over him, but yeah, 11 names left out. There's quite a few, even though 3 of them we technically got, but we got above the average score. We were never going to get perfect, so good job, gang. We've only gotten below average once on the season, so not undefeated on that side of things, but appreciate everybody tuning in and playing along with our quiz for the week. We'll highlight the in-season tournament challenge as we come down to the quarterfinals this weekend, the round of 8, 4 matchups to look over. And we'll start off at the bottom left. Legacy Motor Club, head-to-head, one of them will make it to the Final Four. Will it be Nemechek or Eric Jones? They're both really good on the road courses this season. And they're both in the same equipment. That might be the toughest matchup. I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek. He did out-qualify Eric Jones, I do believe. Pull the starting lineup on another screen just to fact-check that off the top of my head. I do believe Nemechek out-qualified Eric Jones. Pull the raw feed. Nemechek. Oh, I got to get my fantasy picks in. Hang on. Hang on a second. I forgot my fantasy league this week. It might have locked already. We'll highlight the fantasy league here in a couple seconds. I've got 1 minute. Keep Bush, SVG, Gibbs, Busher. I can probably keep all these guys. No, I need somebody else here. Put Byron in there. Take AJ. Put AJ in for McDowell. And I'll put Chastain in for Bush. Head-to-head. Let's go Gibbs. Reddick. Okay. Woo! That was close. As time expires and the fantasy league locks up, I was able to get my fantasy team in. I apologize for that. That was, I almost forgot this week. It almost slipped by me. All right, to the head-to-head matchups. I just put this in on my phone real quick, but more time to look over it here. I will take John Hunter Nemechek over Eric Jones. They both qualified mid-pack. Nemechek had a top 10 in Mexico City, but I believe Jones had a top 10 at Chicago last week. Looking at our qualifying order, Eric Jones qualified 31st. Nemechek starting in 18th. Give me the track position. Give me John Hunter Nemechek in that matchup. Alex Bowman versus Ty Dillon. I didn't really think about it. I just took Alex Bowman. But Ty Dillon has been able to get through because of guys DNFing. Keselowski early last week caught up in the Hocevar incident in Chicago. Denny Hamlin caught up in the big one at Atlanta the week before that. It's probably what it's going to be for Ty Dillon to get bumped from this as well, although he did look halfway decent in practice and his group of qualifying. 26 is where Ty Dillon starts today. Alex Bowman qualified inside the top 10, but Bowman was lacking speed in practice. He was outside the top 20 in practice. He was following Shane Van Gisbergen on his qualifying lap, and I think that's what really helped him get a top 10 starting spot, because otherwise I don't think he would have had it. Bowman did have a good run in Chicago last week, finished in the top 10. So, yeah, definitely going to go with Alex Bowman there. So we'll see if I go 4 for 4 on the head-to-heads. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Preece. Reddick way better on the road courses than Preece. Preece did have a top 10 run at Chicago. He was in the top 10 pretty much all of last week's race. The week before that, he was kind of flirting with the top 10 in Mexico City, or the road course before that specifically. But Reddick is too good on these road courses. He was really good last weekend in Chicago. He starts 8th. You have to go Tyler Reddick, I would assume. And then the final matchup, Ty Gibbs versus Zane Smith. No-brainer to take Ty Gibbs. He's been hot on the road courses this season as well, and he's had top 5 speed in the last 2 with Mexico City. Didn't get a great finish there, but ran up towards the front for a lot of the day. He was just on the wrong side of strategy. And the last week, had one of the quicker cars at Chicago, not named Shane Van Gisbergen or Michael McDowell, and he gets a top 3 run. So, head-to-head matchups this weekend for the in-season tournament. We will follow those along throughout the course of the stream. Again, Nemechek versus Jones. I have Nemechek. Bowman versus Ty Dillon. I have Bowman. Zane Smith versus Ty Gibbs. I have Ty Gibbs. And Tyler Reddick I have over Ryan Preece. So those are our head-to-head matchups. And, Fantasy League, I'll highlight that and how you can join our NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website or the NASCAR mobile app. I'm on NASCAR.com as you see on screen right now. And if you click on the Fantasy tab and then go to Fantasy Live, that's where you can sign up. It is free to join. All you need is your email when you do sign up to join. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing the following season, excluding the Daytona 500, if you win our championship for the season. Ty Gibbs, Zane Smith, head-to-head matchup. Well, I pretty much just went through all the head-to-heads. Again, I had Gibbs, Reddick, Alex Bowman, Jonathan Nemechek for this weekend. They all qualified one over the other, but for road course purposes, one driver significantly better than the other, except for the Nemechek-Jones matchup is probably the closest that can really be flip-flop either way, at least in my head. Zane Smith did qualify relatively well, 12th, but Ty Gibbs, I mean, he could win today. Legitimately. Shane Van Gisbergen gets into trouble, who I think is the favorite for the win. I'm taking SVG because of that for the race win today, but Ty Gibbs could be a threat. Shane Van Gisbergen was beat yesterday by a great road course racer on the Xfinity side, Connor Zilic, so maybe Ty Gibbs can break through and get his first career win on the Cup side today. On the fantasy team, I've got Ross Chastain, AJ Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, and William Byron, All these guys qualified well. They all started inside the top 10. SVG, my favorite for the win, of course. Chris Buescher, very consistent with road course races, although he didn't have a top 10 run last week because of a mechanical issue at Chicago. Before last week, he had only finished outside the top 10 twice on road courses in the next-gen era. AJ Allmendinger was actually fastest in practice yesterday and qualified top 5. This honestly looks like the best car he's had on a road course this season, so he should be a threat also to compete for the win. Ross Chastain has been pretty decent. He ran top 10 and actually, I think, finished 10th at Chicago last weekend. Sneaky pick. I don't think I've had him for a road course race yet this season, but he qualified well. He starts in the top 5, so give me Ross Chastain. So Byron on my team in the garage. I can only start him one time, so I kind of hope I don't have to use him. He's been slumping lately, but he did qualify well this weekend, and he is good at Sonoma despite not winning here in the past. That is our fantasy outlook for this weekend. Again, KRC League is the name of the league. KRC in all capital letters, space, and then a capital L on league is the league name there. I'll put that in the chat. Engines have just fired at the Sonoma Raceway, so we're going to be getting this race started very, very soon. With that being said, we will go through the starting lineup for today's race now. Shane Van Gisbergen on the pole, just as he was a week ago in Chicago. Dominated that race. We'll see if he can dominate 2 weeks in a row. He's actually dominated the last 2 road course races in NASCAR last week and then in Mexico City. So he's trying to go for his 3rd win of the season, 3rd straight on a track that has right-handed turns. Shane Van Gisbergen has a guy who is very familiar with the front row this season, Chase Briscoe, starting on the front row with him. Great qualifying effort for the 2nd consecutive week for Briscoe. Not enough to dethrone Shane Van Gisbergen in qualifying. We'll see if he can put together a solid race today, though. In row number 2, Kyle Larson and Zane Smith. Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher in row 7. Row 8, Michael McDowell, Denny is back in the 51. And then Catherine Legg is back for the 2nd consecutive week, coming off a 19th place finish in Chicago last week. She did not participate in qualifying yesterday, but she did have practice time. So she'll be making her first Sonoma start in the Cup Series today. Bringing up the rear of the field in 37th, row 19. So 37 cars, that's the only non-chartered entry for this weekend. Stages 1 and 2, both 25 laps. Final stage, 60 laps to take us to the distance of this one. And should be an interesting race. Great race yesterday for the Xfinity Series at Sonoma. We'll see what the Cup Series will bring today. 31 laps longer in distance today versus yesterday. Yesterday it was actually a little less than 2 hours total time on the race. This one probably going to be closer to 3. And there were no cautions for incident in the Xfinity Series race yesterday. The only yellows were the 2 stage cautions at lap 20 and 45 out of 79. We'll take a look at the point standings coming into this weekend's event. We got a battle on the playoff bubble. We've got a battle on the regular season championship. First, the regular season championship. 5 drivers can mathematically be the points leader at the end of today's race at Sonoma. We have 7 races to go in the regular season. The checkered flag flaw is at the end of the race today. We will be down to 6. 13 points is the difference between Byron and Chase Elliott at the top. Kyle Larson, minus 19 points, is sitting third. Very tight with those Hendrick Motorsport trio up at the top right now. Then Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, minus 43 and minus 48. They are very much in contention as well. Hamlin, despite missing the race, is only, and Blaney's at Sonoma in his Cup career, despite not really being consistent on the road course races with the next-gen car. He has been here. So we'll see what they can do. Minus 67 and 93 points for them. Again, not out of it, but they are more than a full race worth of points out with only 7 races to go. As far as the playoff standings go, we've had 12 different drivers win a race so far this season. So 4 spots are remaining open with 7 races to go in the regular season entering today. Our drivers locked in with a win would be Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain. 143 points to the good is Tyler Reddick, by far in a pretty good spot there. He's over 2 races ahead of the cut line, and he's got about a race and a half worth of points ahead of the next driver on points behind him. Very tight after that, though. Alex Bowman plus 39. He increased that points gap by quite a bit after last week's race in Chicago, scoring a bunch of stage points, getting the top 10 finish. Chris Buescher, not a good day, went from about plus 60 to plus 35 with the DNF and no stage points for him because of having the mechanical issue early on. Bubba Wallace plus 2 above the cut line after a DNF a week ago in Chicago. I believe he was in the teens to the good. Now only 2 points to the good over Ryan Preece. Preece is the first driver outside the cut line. A lot of good drivers that are on a hot streak that are below the cut line behind Preece. AJ Allmendinger, he's been pretty good this season, kind of slowly climbing up. Very good this weekend in particular. Again, fastest in practice, qualified top 5. AJ could be a threat for the win today and could get into the playoffs that way, but he is minus 43 points. So even if he doesn't win, has a solid points day, he could be very tight to that bubble leaving the race today. Kyle Busch, he's been very good on the road courses this season as well. Had a top 5 last weekend in Chicago. Top 5 at Coda earlier in the spring and led a bunch of laps in that race. So look out for Busch to have a good day. He also can cut that deficit down quite a bit despite being minus 46. Eric Jones, minus 50. He was over 120 points back from the cutoff line just 6 races ago. Now he's 20th in points, minus 50. And Ty Gibbs also coming from insurmountable odds early in the season. He was outside the top 30 in points after the first 10 races. He is now 21st, minus 66. And he had a top 3 last week in Chicago. He scored a lot of stage points at Mexico City with a fast car. He was great at Coda earlier this season. Look out for Ty Gibbs to have a solid run today. Qualified up in the top 10 again. He also could be within striking distance. And I think of those drivers below the cutoff line, they have a good chance to point their way in. You'd have to imagine the JGR 54 car can. They've been clicking on all cylinders, and they did point their way into the playoffs last season. They were one of 3 drivers to do so. So despite the slow start, and no top 10s in those first 10 races of the season, Ty Gibbs has turned it around in a hurry over the last 9 races or so. That's an update on the point standings entering today's race, and we'll keep an eye on the bubble drivers as the race progresses. John Fleming, Stu, Ricky Atkins, thanks for tuning in. Frostbite, Tigresa, thanks for tuning in. Not feeling confident about Byron based on the last few weeks. I wouldn't blame you there. This is a good track for him, though, historically. And he did qualify 3rd. Kevin Stallman, thanks for tuning in. Got SVG, Larson, Elliott, Gibbs, McDowell, and Reddick on your fantasy lineup. That's a pretty good lineup. I took McDowell out. He was looking off this week. He spun out a couple times yesterday. He was great in Chicago last week, so I don't know what happened. He can definitely be a contender by the end of this. He's had good runs here at the next-gen car, Front Row Motorsports. And again, we saw last week with Spire running good on the road courses. But definitely a little bit risky as far as how good or bad he can do today. I just realized the leaderboard wasn't lined up on screen. Good thing the race didn't start yet. Won't be able to watch. Too annoying. Oh, that sucks. Wait, what's too annoying? Lag with the stream? Everything's good on my end. There's a few people saying that the stream was lagging. I don't have any issues on my end. So there were people saying that there was an audio issue in our NASCAR 08 stream earlier. And I don't know exactly what that entailed because I didn't have any issues on my end. I don't have any issues on my end. Yeah, there we go. I was just checking the audio on the stream just to make sure. It might be a YouTube problem. That's the only thing I can think of. It might be a YouTube deal because there is nothing on my end. Lagged a little bit fine now. Yeah, I have zero lagging on my end at all. There's no internet problems. My laptop's running smooth. Everything's good on my end. So whatever issues, the audio is in and out. Try refreshing the page. Because there were a lot of people that were having that problem in our NASCAR 08 stream earlier today. And they said that when they exited out of YouTube and got back in or refreshed the page entirely, everything was fine. So I think it's a YouTube problem as to whatever technical issues there might be. So if you ever end up having any issues with any sort of a lag or audio cutting in and out, just do that on a consistent basis. I know it sucks, but there's literally nothing I can do about it because everything is good here. Pace car pulled off the racetrack seconds ago. Green flag now in the air, and we are underway in the Toyota Save Mart 350 as Shane Van Gisbergen rushes the field into the carousel through the first couple of turns. Well clear. Side-by-side battle for second in the early laps, and a little bit of a log jam on the inside lane in turn 2. Several cars running into the back of each other and kind of veering wide to miss any sort of potential carnage. I don't think there's anybody with severe damage necessarily, and it looks like everybody for the most part has survived the initial start. Field racing into turn 4. Still a lot of side-by-side battles going on. Big passing zone in turn 7 now, our first of 2 hairpins. One driver going 3 wide down to the bottom, Daniel Suarez, to try to make some passes in the middle of the pack in that 7th corner. Race has started and he's not even live. No, I am live. Yeah, there's got to be some audio issues for... I mean, we've been live for like 50 minutes. So... Again, you might have to refresh your page. Here just fine. Yeah, some people have had no problems today, and some people are having other problems. That's why I think it's a YouTube problem. It's not a this channel specific problem. There were people in the chat earlier during our NASCAR 08 stream that were experiencing issues, and some said that it was perfectly fine. They didn't have any problems. So I don't know what's going on. Bobberus Gish, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, any mods in the chat, if anybody starts experiencing any issues and tries to make me aware of the situation in the chat, I'm aware that there is a problem, but it's not on my end. It is on YouTube's end if there is any sort of issues, because we had that problem earlier. And again, everything is running perfectly fine on my end. And even on my stream that I have on my phone that I could see the chat with, when I put the audio onto my phone just to see if there's any audio issues, for instance, or any lag issues, there's nothing there. Like, everything's running smooth. Both for not only my software device running the stream, but watching the stream back on my phone. Everything is running fine there. So, again, be mindful of that. And if the mods in the chat can update anybody, you know, that might be experiencing problems that tune in for the first time later, because I'm sure that's going to happen throughout the course of the race. Just tell them that there's something wrong with YouTube. for today. It's not me, it's not the stream. Just to tell them to refresh the page. Yeah, just refresh it and everything should be fine. If you're watching via TV, you might have to log out of YouTube and then log back in, or not like log out, but just like exit out of the app on the TV and then go back in. So it does seem like it's a YouTube problem today. Anyway, we're on lap 3. Shane Van Gisbergen has led the first few laps from the pole. He's got 0.8 of a second lead over Chase Briscoe in second. 1.1 seconds to William Byron in third. Ross Chastain 1.5 seconds back and fourth, and AJ Allmendinger 1.8 seconds off the lead in fifth. So that's the top 5. Pretty much everybody that qualified in the top 10 or 12 are still there. A couple positions gained or lost on the initial start as everything settles in. Shouldn't see any tire fall off today. There was none during the Xfinity race yesterday, and this is a relatively freshly repaved surface. Only time that we had seen cars on the track prior to this year at Sonoma would have been last season, which was the first year under the repave. So, again, not a lot of fall off. The track is a little bit more slick this year than what it was last year. Of course, running in July could do that. Slightly warmer track temps, air temps. Although this weekend in particular, mid to low 80s Sonoma Raceway. I don't know that that's necessarily much different than years past. Ross Chastain driving it in deep, trying to get by Chase Briscoe for third place after Briscoe lost second to William Byron earlier in the lap, trying to regain his momentum and work forward. We've seen him qualify well throughout the course of the season and then kind of fade back on the earlier run and have to regain all the track position lost on the opening run of the race, move back forward. Sometimes he's able to, sometimes he's not. Last week at Chicago was one of those instances where he was able to get back and get track position and get a decent finish. But he's going backwards in a hurry yet again. Struggling for the balance on the race side of things. We're only 4 laps in, and he's already lost 3 spots from the second starting position. So Chastain makes the pass. Ross is up to third. He's over 2 seconds off the lead. Lap times between Byron and SVG within 1/10 of a second of each other, but SVG a bit quicker. Van Gisbergen has the fastest lap of the race in the early going, a 76.481. I might have to put a pinned comment in the chat. I don't know that people are still going to read that, but if you're just tuning in again, any audio issues that may be popping up or lagging issues, just refresh the stream. YouTube is having its fits today, unfortunately. Sucks that, it has to happen, but unfortunately, it's the power of the internet or anything that has to do with anything online. They have their bugs at times, and today it seems like YouTube is a bit buggy. I'm glad at least I had that stream earlier that I knew that that was a problem at one point in time, and it may end up being an issue, obviously, again here today. I don't know if maybe like resetting the app, like reinstalling YouTube might work if you uninstalled and reinstalled it, if it would completely go away. But apparently refreshing the page works, so I guess you don't have to go through all that extra stuff. I don't think anybody has necessarily gained a ton of positions from the start of the race. Handful of drivers gained 5 spots initially there. Gregson, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. No major spots lost. Hocevar lost 7 positions, 6 for Barry, 7 for Custer. But nobody has gained more than 5 positions, and most of those spots gained of the 5 are at the very tail end of the field. Probably where they had that bunch up in turn 2 on the opening lap on the inside, and they happen to be on the outside. We're just on the other side of whatever accordion effect and however that started. Mad Steve, thanks for tuning in. Dean Tate and others who I maybe didn't give a from there. Andrew, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, most people were saying that it was mainly audio problems earlier, too. Some people were saying lag, but I think they meant audio because it was mostly audio that people were talking about having problems earlier. Side-by-side commercial break right now at Sonoma. Early laps of the race. Shane Van Gisbergen pulling away for the time being. Gradually over William Byron, but even more gradually over everybody else from third on back. Chastain, who made a pass on Chase Briscoe, now seems to be holding up a huge line of cars behind him. Because not only Briscoe is on the back bumper of the one car yet again, but AJ Allmendinger's very tightly there, and Ryan Blaney not far behind either. Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, the two Toyotas also lagging just a few extra car lengths behind the 12 of Blaney. And Chastain starts to hold up way too many drivers, or maybe starts over driving the car and making mistakes. I don't think Briscoe is going to be a driver who's necessarily just going to wait behind him for very much longer. If he can get the bumper to him, he will. Especially when it's a driver like Ross Chastain that's holding him up. So we'll go through the top 10 then as we're in the opening 10 laps of the race. 25 laps in this first stage. Shane Van Gisbergen is the leader. William Byron in second. Ross Chastain third. Chase Briscoe fourth. AJ Allmendinger fifth. Then Ryan Blaney at sixth. Ty Gibbs seventh. Christopher Bell eighth. Zane Smith ninth. Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 10. Stenhouse close to Hocevar? That's a good question. They both qualified pretty deep in the field. Hocevar is 30th, Stenhouse 29th. So they are close together. Hocevar is behind Stenhouse. Could you imagine if he gets into him again? I think he's going to fight him after the race. If he ever gets into him again, Hocevar is going to probably get hit. He's probably going to get hit hard. Not car on car action either. It's going to be fist on face. Half a second slower lap right now by Chastain and that group that he seems to be holding up just a bit behind him compared to the race leader Shane Van Gisbergen. That last lap, Byron is not that slow compared to SVG. In fact, that last lap, Byron ran within a thousandth of a second of SVG. Byron needs a good run as he's been bleeding a lot of points lately for the regular season championship battle. He's only got one race win on the year, so really needs those additional 15 playoff points if he can win the regular season title. And I mentioned last week when we talked about him having his issues again, how much the regular season championship means. Again, the regular season champion since 2014 of having a 16 round by round format has only missed the championship twice in 12 years. So over a 90% chance that whoever wins the regular season title is going to make the championship four and have a shot at the title at Phoenix at season's end. Playoff points are vital.
Stay on the pace. It seems so separates. It's the hard. Yes. And right now, no problems out front. Shane Van Gisbergen with a 1.3 second lead over William Byron. Stanton Jr. reaching that SVG was a little concerned about his car in practice. It wasn't the part of the run that he ran right. He was concerned with. It's a bigger for you. See, we did mention it all. I'm looking at it right now, but he's going to get a little bit better. It's crazy to me that SVG could be looking possibly at his third win of the season if he can pull it off here in Sonoma today. That would make him the number 3 seed currently in the Cup Series playoffs coming up later this year. And they didn't have a win 5 weeks ago. So that's the question, Junior. Is it fair with the current system, that the way it is in NASCAR, for a driver 27th in points to possibly be the number 3 seed? That's what Shane Van Gisbergen will be as of now.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely fair. Right? If it's a fluke win to get you in position to go into the playoffs, you could make that argument. But he's going to go out here and possibly win 3, maybe even 4 races before we start the playoffs. Right now, he has 11 playoff points. That's 5th in the series. You got to give the guy credit. He's great in one particular discipline that is very important during the NASCAR season. He's getting better at the ovals as well, and he'll tell you that. I think we'll see that improvement continue throughout the season.
Great look from the Toyota onboard. I'm with you, Dan. Complain about a fluke win, maybe. But complain about a guy that's beat you maybe 3 times, that seems a little off. Maybe.
I'm going to say this too. Look at the playoff schedule. If you can get through the round of 16 and you're SVG, you go to the round of 12. The elimination race in the round of 12 is the Roval. It's huge for him. Another great look at this Toyota onboard camera. 4-7. Bell following Blaney, and maybe not for long.
That's right. A great move there. Set that house up. Through turn 4, just being smart, not trying to grab too much. It's in striking distance going into turn 7. And that's kind of been the struggle for the 12 camp. Is the long run speed in this car. That speed at the 12 on new tires as we gone through. In the course of a run, that long run speed is not there for Blaney on road courses.
Meanwhile, Bell from 10th to 6th early in the race, Alan.
And they're liking their road course package this year. Of course, they've won and Dakota, finished second in Mexico City. Not a great race last week in Chicago, but Adam Stevens won a many crew chiefs for most crew chiefs. Told me how surprised they were with what they planned on coming here with. The shortcuts for them practice and the track was far more looser and far slower than they had anticipated. So that's what they were working on. Change our teammates. Like Chase Christmas there in the 19th. And everyone taken a bit by surprise by how much this track had changed over 1 year. 19 Briscoe back around Chastain. Chastain struggling now as we get more laps on the tires. If he gives that spot up into turn 3. And here comes Steve Bell. Slow down to 16 to 16 1. Down to the inside into turn 3. What a move. Very aggressive. What a contact right there. AJ is not going to like that contact. He's going to fight hard to keep that spot. It's a good racing here.
Good start to the day. Joe Gibbs racing. Talk about Briscoe, Bell, Gibbs. All 3 of those Toyotas inside the top 8 right now.
Chastain looks for the ring to keep fighting it out. Slowing himself down. Chastain swinging flew in. AJ a little frustrated, just doesn't quite have the speed to be able to go up there and attack like he wants to. Marty.
And you're going to feel like for a good look at this run. AJ Allmendinger's been frustrated that the cars in front of him were holding him up. And then he made this comment a moment ago on the radio. So Junior, he's saying as he sits here behind Chastain is playing a lead short, just not from the 16 either.
Yeah, that's right. All the drivers complained about the balance of their cars being on the loose side, even in the Xfinity Series. When we came back to this racetrack, back with the repay last year, and this zero on the racetrack is going to compound that balance issue. But every Steve, everyone's dealing with this issue. Everyone's uncomfortable. Again, 20 to the inside down here in 7. That's the key. You have to understand that this sounds like a track and a tire thing. So you want your car to drive the best it can, but perfect is not going to be really an option, I think, for any of these drivers. Just like, as simple as that. And right now, the 20, I think, is better than at least the next one in front of him. Very nice drive by Bell so far. Since the start of the race, especially the rear bumper, the one a chance there.
Well, you look at his road course resume, it's outstanding. 3 victories on the road, including earlier this year at Circuit of the Americas. AJ Allmendinger continues the slide. Blaney is through, and Gibbs waiting in the wings for the 54.
Yeah, now a good sign to see the tires falling off the back of the 16 car this early. You know he's got the talent to carry a race car around this racetrack, so you know if he's struggling, there's some serious balance issues on that 16 they're going to have to address. The 20, just to hit this, is going for another position. Around the outside of Chastain. Now he's on the inside of 3. Chastain's going to...
Bell's making passes in spots on the track that are hard to make passes to.
It's a problem. You give up one, the door opens for another. Bell is through. Blaney trying to make it happen. Not quite there.
Trying to get in 7 here, right? Down to the inside. He doesn't want to get the spot up because then it's going to be under attack by the 16 car. Can he find a way to fit in there? Side by side still. There's a 60 have to give away in this.
I watched Chastain, and I feel like I'm at a football game, and I hear that defense chant. Because he's done everything he can.
We keep behind him. Behind this time, Gibbs was coming as well as Reddick. Behind that 54, those two cars climbing through the field. Here comes the 16, trying to outbreak Chastain. Chastain's at the block.
A lot of great action over the years at turn 11. Allmendinger is there, but once again, slides in behind Chastain.
Awesome map right here, man. This track produces. Unfortunately, is going to struggle. Chastain just not looking to lead off too many spots. Keeps fighting.
How big is that? He's a retired driver. He's in the Hall of Fame. He said it's fun to watch these drivers struggle. He's graduated to the TV booth officially now.
All right, we'll go through the full field running order now. Shane Van Gisbergen in the race lead, 2.3 seconds ahead of William Byron in second, 6.8 seconds to Chase Briscoe in third, and 9.2 seconds to Christopher Bell in fourth. Ryan Blaney is fifth, Ross Chastain sixth, seventh is A.J. Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs in eighth, Tyler Reddick ninth, Chase Elliott rounds out the top 10. 11th is Kyle Larson, Michael McDowell 12th, Alex Bowman 13th, Zane Smith 14th, and Chris Buescher in 15th. 16th for Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez 17th, Brad Keselowski 18th, 19th Austin Cindric, and Kyle Busch is 20th. Joey Logano 21st. John Nemechek 22nd. Now Logano just passed Busch for 20th, by the way. So Nemechek is 22nd, Bubba Wallace 23rd, Denny Hamlin 24th, Riley Herbst 25th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 26th, Ty Dillon 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Noah Gragson 29th, Carson Hocevar 30th, Josh Berry 31st, 32nd for Todd Gillen, 33rd Cole Custer, Justin Haley 34th, Eric Jones 35th, Cody Ware 36th, and Catherine Legg rounds out her 37-car field. Everybody still on the lead lap. No cautions through the first 15 laps. Our pole sitter Shane Van Gisbergen has led every lap thus far. We're just over 20 minutes in. With stage one ending at lap 25, we'll probably start to see green flag pit stops. I would assume in the next 3 to 4 laps, we'll start to see a couple of guys come in, make some adjustments, especially those at the front of the field that are maybe bleeding positions, like Ross Chastain and A.J. Allmendinger seems to be struggling with the grip in their cars. 16 is definitely faster than the 1, but he's not as fast to pass him compared to the cars that have already gotten by Chastain, like Blaney, Bell, and Briscoe. So AJ's struggling to be able to make offensive moves like some of the other drivers inside the top 10. Lap time-wise, looking at the leaders, Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe were quicker than William Byron the last lap. Byron is losing a lot of time to Shane Van Gisbergen now. It was my pick to win the race yet again. I've taken him on the last 3 road course races. There he is, out in contention to try to win those 3 road course races. I believe I took William Byron at Coda earlier this year, so I have not taken SVG at every single road course, but just the ones he's won, or in this case, one that he's in contention for the win for. I think another thing that also helps aid SVG with these road races is having them so consecutively. He can get such a rhythm from one track to the next. I mean, momentum is a real thing in sports, even with motorsports, and SVG's definitely got some momentum on his side, but having oval after oval after oval at a break with road courses, or even like having Circuit of the Americas earlier in the season, I don't even know that SVG led a lap in that race. It's never really in contention for the race win necessarily on a road course, and having it earlier in the year maybe just wasn't necessarily in that competitive shape to be as fast on the road courses as what we're used to seeing SVG, but mid-season form, that's for sure. That's what we're seeing again here today.
All season long. HBO Max. Shane Van Gisbergen leading. We got 8 laps to go in stage 1. Last time we came to you, Marty, the advantage was 1.3. It's now 3.8 seconds on by.
I'm almost became the last time he has extended the lead to your point by 2 seconds. But at that same time, he had this radio transmission to Stephen Dorn, his crew chief. Listen. So, Steve, is it comforting to you, Brian? I guess I should ask you. Is it comforting to hear that from Steve when he tells you, hey, the whole field is struggling with rear grip. It's not just you. Yeah, I mean, if my car driving and I feel like I'm losing the rear tires, getting the information that my lap time's still relatively competitive is helpful. to kind of calm me down so that I don't try to overdrive the car, make things worse, and run slower. You know, you get to working too hard in there trying to make up for something. You can actually hurt the tire more, run even slower lap time.
And with this mysterious track grip issue we have seen this weekend, the left rear tires were completely worn out in just 15 laps. It has improved. Obviously, as the weekend's gone, but that's the tire of concern for all these drivers, mostly because it's right-hand corners, right? The left rear tire is doing the work on all of these right-hand exits. Danielle?
Yeah, Stevie, we've seen Chase Elliott crack the top 10 after qualifying 15th. Not surprising for this 13th round Gustafson. He said, with the lack of grip and amount of fall off for this tire, it reminds us of his old Sonoma before the repave, and that plays to my driver's hand because he never overdrives the tire. He just came on the radio and said the balance is good, just trying to keep tires on it. Dale, what's he mean by that?
Yeah, just trying to keep the rear tires on it like everyone else out on this racetrack right now. We've talked about how loose the cars are, and anytime you try to put the power down, like over this hill into 4 or coming out of 7, coming out of 11, it wants to spin the rear tires. And so you're beating up the rear tires and tearing them up and hurting them all race long, all lap long. And the guy that can actually try to take care of that the best is going to be the one that runs the best on the long run. The 5-car Kyle Larson is a big story right now, dropping a ton of spots. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with his car, but it looks like the balance has gone away tremendously. Watch right here. Down into turn 11, trying to battle for this position here against the 999, and he's frustrated. The car's not handling well. But I mean, he has lost, I think, 6 or 7 spots in the last 2 laps. Alan, what you got?
It just keeps dropping and keeps slipping. That backside of his car, not gripping the racetrack, and it's especially worse in those braking zones. Like you said, I'm down here in turn 11 watching him just get outbraked every time, continuing to lose position. They need an adjustment on that 5-car.
Helpless. You can't drive a car into the braking zones that doesn't want to stop. Now, the good news for Larson, as we see 6 to go, is his opportunity for service is right around the corner. As a reminder, pit road will close when the leader sees 2 to go at the line. So with 3 laps to go in this stage, it's decision time. Do you want to stay out and try to get stage points or come to pit road? From all the slipping and sliding and complaining, I think we're going to see a massive wave come to pit road. 3 to go for most. Leader SVG gave away to 2 to go. So we'll just have to see right around.
Lead out to 5 seconds. Shane Bennett is for second place. William Byron. And we talked about Chase Costello. Where would they fit in? Well, back and forth, back up to third now. He's almost 8 seconds behind the leader, but he's got that track position.
And it looks like SVG is about to come get road right there.
I thought so too.
But sure, the 6-car, come on, just back to the 6-car Brad Keselowski, not known as an ace at the road courses, but he's on the move, picking up 9 slots since the start. And since the last restart at lap 1. So sitting in 15th right now. Been a tough year for Brad this year, but so far right now looking like one of the cars with the better pace on the long run. This is going to be one of those tracks where we do have a lot of fall off today. Having a car that can handle well and still move forward and be on the offense on the long run is a big deal today.
All 3 RFK cars inside the top 15. Busher running 13, 14 for Priest. They have really started to show a lot of speed in the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Chastain just trying to maintain right here off the 3 spots back in the 6th. 2-car gets Cinders on pit road.
Normal cycle, 4 tires of fuel, good right side stop. After the backwards pit stops for the last few weeks, a normal direction for these drivers. Chastain continuing to run the 6th position, Marty.
Yes, Steve, he said he's had good rear grip this entire run. But also for you, Chief Steve, it's decision time about how you play the rest of your race. This is what Phil Surgeon told Chastain a moment ago.
Point that playing that way because I don't feel like we're competitive enough to win right now.
So, Steve, it's kind of crazy to think that as a crew chief, you're going to have to make that decision as the pit window opens here. Do you go for the points or do you play it for the win later on in the race? They're going to go for points each one, Alan. Ryan Blaney and a little on the pre-stock, just like everybody out there. But as crew chief told me earlier, when a track is free, Ryan Blaney usually succeeds. So they like this track today and like where they're going with this 12 car, Marty.
Chris Butcher lost a few spots at the very start of the race. Was not really able to gain those back. Again, just like everybody else, struggling with rear lateral trip from the 17. Looks so good here at the road course. You'll see if they can make it up later. Kyle Larson among the cars coming down, getting service here. Under green, 4 to go, stage 1. And as Steve said, we'll close the pit lane with 2 to go. And as far as most everyone is behind race leader Shane Van Gisbergen, you're going to have to make a pit stop with 3 to go.
So Shane stayed out. Now it's the 24, 19, 20, and the 1. What will their decision be as they come down into turn 11? Will they come to pit road or not? There's a 20, a seatbelt on pit road. Ballot.
That's Christopher Bell up 6 spots in this first stint. Just at the end there, he said, I could tell my tires are getting bad. Small adjustment. 20 car, 2 tires on the right, over to the left side. 4 tires stopping fuel for Christopher Bell on the pit road.
Host of drivers making pit stops. You saw them coming on. Among those in Tyler Reddick, qualified inside the top 10. We talked off the top how good he was here a season ago, leading a bunch of laps, winning a stage. AJ Allmendinger would slid back from his starting position, making his green flag stop. 3 to go, stage 1.
And now I think there's no choice but to pit if you're the 88 of the SVG. I believe if you don't pit now, after how many cars, we've had nearly 30 cars pit in this cycle. So the 88 of SVG, down the S's right here, he will have to decide. And then if he stays out, I think the 24 is committed. He's so far better. As we watch 88 pit behind him with 24, that's the next story. 24-19, will they fall to 88 off that road?
Yep, Byron does.
88 of Shane Van Gisbergen started on the pole strong to begin this race, and here he is making his stop under green. 2 to go on the stage, Marty. Yeah, Adam, you know, it's funny. I talked to Stephen Doran about this last week. He said at Chicago, if we were in a position to get a playoff, he wanted it. He told me today, this week here at Sonoma, we get the track position. It's not worth the playoff point. SVG just like it. It's no rear grip on the car. So take a fresh medium tires before the end of stage 1. You see in our pylon here. Who's pitch starting? Sean Laird Briscoe did as well.
There you see those two on the pit road, trying to get to the end. SVG exits pit road. Up the hill, here's the 1 of Chastain, who's the leader of the race. Think about that, the 88 pitted, and he's going to rejoin in second because so many cars have hit it. So the 1's going to have, and he's going to go on 20s around.
Oh,
Turn 2, this is the top of turn 2.
No,
look out.
AJ like slows the car down.
the 20 got on the inside of somebody up in the middle, and he up in that turn there, and right here, the 19. Oh, he's cooking in there too hard.
And nice take by Briscoe.
Yeah,
I mean,
there it is.
he had that thing sliding out underneath of him, and he was able to hang on to it.
I think he was just coming out of the pits.
Sorry.
That's what I was going to say. That's great.
They'll talk about that to me.
Yeah, Briscoe was coming out of the pits.
Stage 1.
If you spin yourself out, is that like a, hey man, don't be mad at me? So,
It's remarkable to me, and you talked about Shane Van Gisbergen and where he is. Just speaks to the way that, they played the game and how many guys made their pit stops. But Chastain is the man in control of this race. And come on for final time, stage 1, Marty. Yeah, I just want to leave it to that radio with Steve and just kind of get your perspective on the decision here by Phil Surgeon. I think it's interesting where he said we don't can win the race. So what we can get, they're going to try and take this playoff by winning the 10 stage points that go with it. What do you think about that?
I think it's genius. There's going to be a group of people happy living here. One race winner, and the other will be 4 or 5 cars that score 35 to 40 points. That's an amazing day at the road courses. Chastain is on pace to do that. Another car we're talking about, though, he's 21 seconds back. Look at the pylon. 3rd place, Colin Gullis. We keep talking about the playoff situation. Bubba Wallace qualified poorly. This is finding a win inside this race here today. If he can hold on the last little bit, this is going to be a big thing. As you see, the one wins the stage.
Ross Chastain takes the opening stint of the race here at Sonoma.
And here Bubba Wallace trying to get in the braking zone. Gonna get the
Oh!
88 of SVG.
That's for second.
Wow. Impressive. SVG's just trying to get around here and keep the tire on hard. He's trying not to run hard.
That's
Run up the tire, and Bubba's like, I'm gonna take the spot.
Yeah, accomplished. Talk about Bubba Wallace, who was 6 or 7 spots behind Ryan Preece before the green flag cycle. Preece pits, Bubba Wallace does not, and he helps himself in relation to that playoff cut line. Stenhouse gets points. So does William Byron. Big for Byron, who came in the regular season points lead. Stage 1 in the books here in Sonoma, California. You're watching NASCAR TNT.
So Ross Chastain wins the opening stage of the race today. Shane Van Gisbergen in second, even after pitting. Bubba Wallace third. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fourth. They both stayed out of the pits. Byron pitted. He finishes fifth in the stage. Ty Dillon sixth without pitting. Chase Briscoe did pit. He's seventh. Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott all pit. They are 8th, 9th, and 10th. 1 point per position for the regular season standings. And for Ross Chastain, he gets a playoff point. He's obviously already locked into the playoffs with the win. That's the first stage win of the year for Chastain as well. So he's only got 6 playoff points with the 1 race win. Now he has 1 stage win to go with it. Take something out of the day. He's quite a ways in points off of the next couple of drivers ahead of him in the regular season standings. Not really a shot to win the regular season title, being over 2 full race worth of points behind Byron. Byron still gets some pretty good stage points even with pitting. I was wondering if he was going to stay out, maybe go for the stage win because he is battling for the regular season title, but he still outscored Elliott, who only gets 1 point. Obviously, Byron, gets 6. Then Hamlin didn't get any. Bell spun. He didn't get any. Bell is 18th now after his spin. Larson didn't get any points. Kyle Larson's struggling, by the way, right now. 31st for Larson at the end of stage 1. Surprising to see Kyle Busch struggling, too, as good as he's been on road courses this season. He's 29th. Joey Logano, 28th. There's some big names far back in the field. Denny Hamlin, 35th. Although I wasn't expecting Hamlin to have necessarily a great run today because of how poor he has been running on the road courses. Not named Chicago last week with the next-gen car, still 35th. It's insane. And he's in the regular season championship battle as well. So Byron doing a great job compared to the other 4 that came into the day within 1 race worth of points of Byron for that points lead. So we're going to see everybody who did not hit pit road before the end of the stage more than likely pit now. They will not be able to make it on fuel anywhere close to the end of stage 2. And those same drivers that stayed out to get stage points, I would assume, are going to try to do the same in stage 2. A lot of those drivers were either too far back in the field to pit and stay on the lead lap, compared to Chastain, who stayed out, or they were in a situation where they just weren't going to be able to, or they were able to get stage points, and they're in some sort of a points battle where those points were necessary. Ty Gibbs going for the race win. He gets 2 points. He did come in minus 66 points on the playoff bubble, and AJ doesn't get any points, and he also was on the playoff bubble outside looking in, even closer than Gibbs in the standings, and he doesn't get any stage points at all.
King Sportsbook is your home for live betting, and new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code SPEED when you sign up.
One of Chastain. Now, there's some math that says he could stay out, but like we were talking earlier, the tires are so important. I believe all these cars that haven't pit will come to pit road. That'll be the one of Chastain, 23 of Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ty Dillon. It's just to show you how much speed a few of these cars have. The 88 of the 24, they scored all those stage points. They had a big gap, and they were aided, as you pointed out, Adam, that so many cars pitted. So, pit cycle pretty fast, furious, and now all these cars have just come in here under yellow. I assume. Now they have, like I said, they could stay out, but that would be a very aggressive call. No, there they go.
But it's just part of our thought process. If you put the stage, you're giving up points.
Yeah, right.
It didn't. I mean, it's remarkable what they were able to do today.
SVG gave up 1 point and 1 playoff point. They would have won the stage. But now you see all these cars staying on the racetrack on the left. That's a great visual to show you how many cars these guys will now line up behind, Alan.
And look, pre-race plan for Bubba Wallace. Get stage points as you could. He says it's great single file, but he has nothing for him in the turns. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on and off for Bubba Wallace, Danielle.
Second can of fuel going in for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Mike Morita said that he's going to be a bang bang stop. Want to fill it with fuel, Ricky? Get out of here. Report. Take points there, Marty.
Ross Chastain and Phil Simpson playing points game in the bank, plus a playoff point as well. Ross Chastain said the car was just way too loose. Then Paul's moment, he said the entire league way too loose. So these guys, to Steve's point, will start deep in the field to start stage 2. Stage win number 1 of 2025 for Ross Chastain. He gets his service, and he's got a long ride back to the front when we return.
All right, Shane Van Gisbergen dominates the day, but Ross Chastain, his teammate, is able to pick up the stage 1 win because of the pit strategy of staying out during the cycling of green flag pit stops that took place before the end of the stage. He didn't decide to flip the stage as he was bleeding too many positions, didn't feel he was in any sort of contention for a win, so went for the playoff point instead, considering he is already locked into the playoffs. We saw Ryan Blaney do that at Chicago last week, and now Ross Chastain this week, obviously, here at Sonoma. SVG, again, second place stage points, 9, despite the fact that he ended up pitting. He was still 20 seconds behind Chastain as the opening stage came to a close. But only will move up 1 position back into P1. Chastain was able to lead for 4 laps, 23 and counting for the 88. We'll take our first break of the stream. You're listening live on KRC to NASCAR Cup Series action at Sonoma. The Toyota Save Mart 350. Yeah, 50 likes on the stream on our goal of 150, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content as our coverage continues. $84 votes in our chat poll for who you think is going to win the race today. That closes at the end of stage 2. SVG leads the poll at 56%. Somebody other than Byron, SVG, or AJ Allmendinger at 24%. Then Byron has 10% of the votes and AJ with 11%. So those are the voting options so far. Two-stop not going to be possible today. No, it should be a pretty straightforward 3-stop race, especially with the way the stages are laid out for stage 1 and stage 2. 25 laps in stage 1, 30 laps here in the second stage, which is basically the same length as stage 1 when you exclude the caution laps that are being ran during the stage yellow right now. So Christopher Bell, the only driver who I believe went for any sort of a spin. He was battling Chase Briscoe as Briscoe was leaving pit road after Bell was already on track, pitted the lap before. It would have been a battle for, at that then position, 3rd for this upcoming restart, that is, and I believe it would have been for 7th place on track at the time. Bell made contact into turn 2 and ended up going for a spin. Briscoe was able to save it, stay on the race course, didn't lose any positions.
Update presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Here is the bracket, and then there were 8.
Then there were 8. The battles of the war right now, the tightest battles between Reg and Freaks. They're currently 9th and 12th on the racetrack. Ty Gibbs have a great day outside the top 5. Zane Smith qualified well, but look at put the pressure on him. Bowman right now ahead of Ty Dillon by quite a bit, quite a few positions right there. John Hunter Nemechek also winning his bracket. I love this because all these guys are outside the top 12 in points. So one of these could really, winning this bracket could make their season.
I don't know if Ty Dillon will win the $1 million, but he's won the trash talk competition at the end season.
I love it. So we're down there on the stage. He's walking out of driver intro or walking out of driver's meeting. And Dale kind of like, go get the money. He turned and he was like, absolutely. Here he was fired up about this tournament. I love it.
Take a look at the choose here for the restart. SVG will take the inside line of turn 11, but that puts it on the outside coming up the hill to turn 1. So soon he gets the launch. Should be in pretty good shape there.
Ross Chastain, the first off pit road, won the stage. But we talk about the loss of track position when you run it out. Prior to the choose was 24th was Chastain, so a lot of ground to make up. A couple of speeding penalties on the cyclist stops. Cole Custer, Catherine Legg both have to drop to the ring. Anxious to watch William Byron starting side by side with Shane Van Gisbergen. 88, the control car as we begin stage 2. And
yeah, it was Briscoe who was on the front row for the initial start of the race. Byron had at least short run pace that was matching lap times with Van Gisbergen. Once they got about 10 laps into the run, that's when he started losing time to him. SVG had about a 4.5 second gap to Byron by the time the green flag pit stop started. Green flag is back in the air as Van Gisbergen leads us to the green. William Byron stays tight with him through turn 1. Doesn't want that 88 car to clear. He'll stay to his outside as they enter turn 2. Great restart by Byron, all things considered, but Shane Van Gisbergen is the leader. No stack up on the inside line of turn 2 on this restart compared to the initial start of the race. Briscoe trying to fend off Ryan Blaney for third. He should be able to do so into turn 4. Blaney's still going to push hard on the outside, but he got his left sides out in the grass in the braking zone. He slides, was able to save his race car from crashing, but ended up losing about 4 or 5 positions. Another car cramming it in 4 wide into turn 7. That was Ryan Preece, a little too hot. Gets into the right rear of Tyler Reddick. They made contact, but both cars keep it in the right direction. Bit of a wild sequence of events that took place between turns 4 and 7 that time. Yeah, just a little bit too far wide. Now, I don't know if Blaney was forced wide by the 19. It looked like there might have been contact before Blaney got into the grass. It's definitely tight. Briscoe was trying to arc his corner off. I think it was just mainly 2 cars going for the same spot, and one ran out of room. Yeah, I mean, Blaney did get crowded a little bit, but it wasn't a drastic move up by Briscoe either. 2 cars fighting for the same spot, and nobody wanted to give. I'm surprised that Blaney didn't concede the position behind Briscoe and ended up just kind of hanging there, because it looked like he was deeper into the braking zone than the 19, and we've got trouble. AJ Allmendinger is around trying to get it back going in the right direction again, and he does. And it looked like turn 2 is where Allmendinger goes around. After qualifying in the top 5, he finished 15th at the end of stage 1 on the strategy of pitting early. He was running 5th here, and off track he goes. So Briscoe and Gibbs, who were running in front of him, both kind of undercut turn 2. And as a result of undercutting the corner, there's a lot of dirt that got laid down on the racetrack. And AJ didn't run below the curbing. He ended up just wiping out. Track got slick. He was the first one to basically run into the marbles that were left on the racetrack. Now John Hunter Nemechek's around, and this looks to be around the S's. Bottom of the hill. Pandemonium everywhere. Nemechek, one of the drivers, going for the in-season tournament challenge, battling Eric Jones, his teammate, in his matchup this weekend. So those are huge positions lost for the 42 on that side of things. Nemechek was in 17th. And it looked like there were 3 wide in the S's. Side-by-side's hard to do in the S's. 3 wide is nearly impossible. Riley Herbst and Austin Cindric were the 2 cars that were underneath of Nemechek, and they all just kind of banged off of one another. And Nemechek, unfortunately, was the one that ended up going around. Bubba Wallace almost clipped the right front of Nemechek, who was sitting sideways in a really bad spot. There's a little extracurricular contact between the 2 and the 35, but I don't think any severe damage on neither one of those 2 cars. Somehow everybody was able to miss the 42. A lot of them having to go off track to miss him, but there's just enough room to get through that mess. Battle for the race lead out in front of the field between Shane Van Gisbergen and William Byron. Again, short run speed. Byron for about 10 laps is able to hang with SVG. Byron very deep into turn 11. A little too deep. He didn't get the acceleration needed to stay with SVG on corner exit.
First stage, and Smith was faster. Even complaining about the bounce in his car, but stage 2, he's got some company up at the front. Look at Tom Gibbs.
Our teammates, by the way, Briscoe has a win, Gibbs does not.
Spinning the dirt twice on the inside of turn 2, trying to get around his 19. He's going to make a move right here. Jump by the line. Yes, he is. And attack. Well, he have enough room with a 19 leaving space. Just not a place where you really get the pass fade. Here's the corner where he really tried to be out breaking into the rankings on there, but he didn't set the pass up in 4. So 19's going to be in position to argue if he wants to and keep this spot. So we'll let a teammate go through.
Wise move by the 19 for sure.
Gibbs up to third, Marty. First time all day in, he's in that frame with SVG at the front of the field on a nice muscle. This game, Mart trying to front his drive about their long run speed. Listen in.
Not quite Van Gisbergen style, but certainly in the ballpark again. So good pace there, whatever difference you made all year, whatever you got going over there. This would be another figure out.
Steve, that's kind of funny, isn't it? You know, not SVG, but in the ball game with SVG, and I think today that's a pretty big accomplishment.
It is, and what I wonder, seeing here, is the 88 trying to save rear tires? That he's been told that the 24 attacked last run, but then faded late. So I wonder if the 88 is literally just driving out of his mirror, just saying, save as much tire as I can while keeping Byron behind me.
I just think he's backed up a little bit too close to this 20.
I'm with you. When I said back up, you're not this close.
The 15 car looking at Johnny Gibbs. That's the one we've seen him run good on the road courses. That is the one thing that they need to improve on is that long run speed. If he's got that today, watch out for Johnny Gibbs. Alan, what you got on the 12? Well, Ryan Blaney has recovered nicely since getting tagged on that restart, but he has not forgotten what happened. He had a message for Chase Briscoe over his team radio.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Trying to handle those emotions, Ryan Blaney. Only 2 spots now behind Chase Briscoe. Briscoe shouldn't be losing 2 spots. Ryan Blaney right there.
Maybe once they have the baby, he'll calm down. But an expecting dad, and boy, he's still got the same aggression on the radio as Ryan Blaney. At the 1/3 point, the stage 2 here at Sonoma. Shane Van Gisbergen leading this thing. Byron Gibbs, Briscoe Bell, your top 5.
All right, first third of the second stage. We'll go through the full field running order this time. Lap 35 of 110 overall. Shane Van Gisbergen only 0.3 of a second out ahead of William Byron right now. After Byron in second, you got Ty Gibbs, who just moved up to third moments ago. Then Chase Briscoe fourth, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top 5 and fifth. Great recovery for Bell after a spin late in the opening stage. Not William Byron. Ryan Blaney in 6th, Chris Buescher 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Michael McDowell 9th, Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. Then you got Ryan Preece in 11th, Tyler Reddick 12th, Brad Keselowski 13th, Daniel Suarez 14th, Joey Logano 15th, 16th for Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson 17th, Ross Chastain 18th, 19th is Josh Berry, Zane Smith 20th, Riley Herbst 21st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 22nd, 23rd is Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon 24th, 25th Noah Gragson, 26th Todd Gilliland, AJ Allmendinger 27th, Kyle Busch 28th, Bubba Wallace 29th, Cole Custer 30th, Eric Jones 31st, Denny Hamlin 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, 34th Justin Haley, 35th Catherine Legg, Jonathan Nemechek 36th, Carson Hocevar 37th. And that rounds out our full 37 car field. So Hocevar must have went off racetrack or something too, or hit pit road, because he's 50 seconds off the race lead right now. So not sure what happened to Carson. Nemechek obviously had a spin, and everybody got through him before he got back in the right direction again, so that's why he's at the back, but Hocevar's even behind Nemechek. Linda Bollinger, thanks for tuning into the stream, as well as everybody else who has been tuned in from the beginning, tuning in throughout the course of the race itself. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Helps these streams out a ton. We're at 57 likes right now. We had just over 100 yesterday during the Xfinity Series race, so let's see if we can at least top that for today's stream. Subscribe for NASCAR content as well. Coming into the day, we were only 23 subs away. And now we're 22. So 22 subs away from 6,500 on the channel. 6,500. So let's see if we can get there. Got daily NASCAR content on the channel. Live commentary streams for every NASCAR Cup, Xfinity truck race, as well as Cup practice and qualifying, just like this. So our coverage continues here on KRC. We'll take a quick break and we'll have more of the TNT coverage side of things here when they come back from commercial. Priest and Reddick 11th, 12th on the bracket. Yeah, that is a tight battle for the moment. We saw a couple of them come down to the final laps last week. I think Gibbs and Allmendinger were only, no, it wasn't AJ. Whoever Gibbs was battling with for his spot on the bracket, he only beat by one spot. And obviously the Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman battle came down to the waning laps too.
350. Shane Van Gisbergen leading this thing. He led 32 laps this afternoon. And the only reason he didn't win that opening stage, they chose to flip it. But he's back in charge. Kyle Busch has won here twice, but he's back in 28th. What's the story for the RCR driver?
That was kind of at the start of this stage. He was 36 after a lengthy pit stop. He was not happy on the radio that whole first stage, saying no grip, no lateral grip in any direction. Rick that brought him in for a lengthy pit stop to make major chassis adjustments. He's gained 8 spots here. Steve, what do you do when your crew chief and your driver's screaming, I have no grip anywhere? Come on in, let's make it better.
No grip anywhere. You mean that's like every week for some drivers? And I say that because they're fired up. Kyle Busch has a ton of desire to run well. He's been patient publicly. I'm okay if he loses his mind on the radio because he cares. But look, big adjustments, +8. That's what Danielle just told us. That's heading the right way. Look, Kyle could easily light this on fire in the media, and he doesn't. I'm pretty impressed with what he's doing.
Disappointing for him because they've been so good on the road courses. You know, a couple of top fives this year racing on the road. You talk about veteran drivers frustrated. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin in that same category.
And then he lost a few spots right here, getting off the racetrack with the 7. Then he's back in the back of the field, struggle with the balance of the car as well, riding on board with Kyle Busch during this accident. They just get up over the hill and lose the back of the car. Look how dirty the racetrack is. And that's from the 54 side ends and other cars that have cut the inside of that turn in turn 2. And you come up over that hill, it's wide, you don't know that it's there. You end up sliding through because you drive into a corner, you take spleen. Same thing down there, you turn the 11. All that dirt escaped truck down into the entry of this turn, into the entry of the pit road. You've got to be aware of that, adjusting your braking zone and how hard you charge into these corners. But you know, that's a tough issue for the 11 in turn 2, but he doesn't have a very fast race car today. They're going to have to work on it.
Right behind them, well, now you see the leader had everyone stacked up. In the 88, 24, 54, 19.
I'm surprised at how they've been able to stay in close proximity in the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen up to this point. Just makes you wonder how hard they're running out there out front, Marty.
Yeah, Dale, I asked Stephen Dorr, the crew chief for Shane Van Gisbergen, hey, is he just pacing himself trying to save career tires? And he said, yes, there's been no official rating indication of that. But yes, he can see that from their stage 1 pace to their stage 2 pace. But then Shane had a very interesting question about William Byron. Listen to this radio.
Quite different for a lot of
So, Steve, I find that very interesting. It's the same question that Shane Van Gisbergen asked yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. He wanted to know the air pressure in William Byron's car. A, how they have access to that, and B, why is that information helpful?
Well, yesterday it was a junior motorsports car to a junior motorsports car, so it made sense. This, while they are 2 Chevrolets, I'd be shocked if that's the information they're all sharing. If they are, I would not operate very well inside these parameters. I think you're starting to share maybe too many ingredients of what makes the suit magical. But why does it matter? It's just a monster adjustment for these race cars. We've seen Briscoe go by the 54. air pressure in general is just one of the biggest adjustments that crew chiefs make, so there's something he's not liking.
Alan, what about the guy running second, William Bob?
Well, he's hanging on to the bumper of that 88, and they made those rears better. But everyone's talking about the lack of grip. And William Byron says the rear of the car is much better now. It has to make the front better now, right? Affecting one side of the car, affecting the front. That's what he the improvement that he wants. But he's hanging there with Shane Van Gisbergen.
It's just an interesting mix as Adam good or just a good report Alan has on William and what the car is better. But I mean, look how many cars are in line. I mean, just look. Minute 1, 2, there's 10 cars in the same turn 11 at the same time. This is crazy.
Well, and I look at these drivers inside the top 10, and there's a lot of drivers up there that are accustomed to having success on the road. Talk about Chase Elliott. We see Chris Buescher, Christopher Bell is there. And entering the conversation is Michael McDowell. He was disappointed in his qualifying effort. And you talked to him just a little bit there before we went green. On board here, courtesy of HBO Max. But man, McDowell is up to 9th and starting to put himself into the game. Second here a season ago.
And he's trying to close in. He's got good speed in this car. Need a little bit of track position. You got to work some magic during the stage breaks or before flipping the stage. We have to try to advance him forward. So we can go up there and try to challenge.
Right now, the on people are on the same plane, and yellow is really where the real intersection's going to tell me, and they got the headwind and ran pretty clean yesterday. On board Buescher right here, just built some marine stop Tom. It's turn 10. I mean, I think it's underrated how easy it is to just get left right there, and then you see those like jersey barriers. You don't get too far left, you got a big issue.
He drives down in there. The 12 moves up to another spot as we see right out in front. Blaney has passed the 20 of Christopher Bale, and now he's passed Ty Gibbs.
And now,
Up the fourth.
now he's behind Chase Briscoe. But we remember the radio. You tell him if I get back to him, I remember what happened.
Maybe that yellow I was saying I didn't have. I mean, playing child, you play back up there and deliver one.
Gibbs would be okay with that, I think. Even though it's his teammate involved, Gibbs thinks it wins.
So just put it in perspective, 5th place is 5 seconds closer to the leader than he was last stage. So the field is condensed for sure.
But it's at 5 seconds now separating the top 9. That was not the conversation we were having earlier. Briscoe.
He heard you.
Yeah, he did.
Check that mirror. He's like, I gotta go. Blaney's coming.
Van Gisbergen lead. Briscoe now second. Byron, Blaney, Gibbs, your top 5. 14 laps to go. It's stage 2, and it's a beautiful day and an awesome racetrack.
All right, Shane Van Gisbergen only 1 second out ahead of Chase Briscoe, who looks much stronger in stage 2 after whatever adjustments they made to the race car during the stage 1 break. Because as of right now, Briscoe lap time-wise is running a little bit quicker than Shane Van Gisbergen. That last lap, he had a 76.97 to a 76.98 for SVG. Briscoe was bleeding positions last stage. He was struggling to kind of hold on inside the top 5 by the end of that first stint of the race. Obviously, he was one of the many drivers who came to pit road before the end of stage number 1. But he is back up in contention, so don't count him out of it. And he's also trying to run and hide from Ryan Blaney, who's on the move. William Byron, lap time-wise, though, very slow compared to the leaders. He ran a 78.0 that last lap. That was 1.1 seconds slower than that of both Briscoe and SVG. And I believe that was a lap after Chase Briscoe, had just made a pass on Byron for, again, second place. So the top 10 in the intervals between them right now in the later going of stage 2, got about 12 laps to go in the stage, has Shane Van Gisbergen in the lead by 1.5 seconds over Chase Briscoe, 2.3 seconds to William Byron in third. Ryan Blaney's 2.7 seconds back at fourth. Christopher Bell 3.8 seconds off the lead in fifth. 6th is Ty Gibbs at 4.4 seconds off the lead. Chris Buescher in 7th, 4.8 seconds back. Chase Elliott 5.3 seconds off the lead in 8th. Michael McDowell in 9th is 5.6 seconds off the lead. And Ryan Preece is 9.7 seconds back of the leader. So that's the top 10. Again, the intervals between them. Lap 44 of 110. We're nearing halfway in today's race at Sonoma, the Toyota Save Mart 350. You're listening live on KRC.
back at Sonoma, and now we look at our Xfinity Fast and Lap. Surprise, surprise. Shane Van Gisbergen, top of the board. William Byron is there. And Ryan Preece doing it again in the 60. Having a good day, coming off his best ever finish on the road last weekend in Chicago, Alan.
He is, and there was a time you would not pick Ryan Preece as a road course winner, but it's been a nice slow progression. He qualified second in Mexico, had a nice comeback in that race. As you said, seventh last week, his best finish ever on a road course there. And now he's driven up 10 spots already. And he told the team, we made great changes overnight. If we have long runs, we're going to be real good, Danielle.
Well, Alan, Tyler Reddick right now is running in the 11th position. They said, go back to where you were on brake bias because we are getting beat on exit. Tyler would love $1 million with the in-bracket challenge. But right now, I think what he wants a little bit more is a win to lock himself into the playoffs. I asked Billy Scott, what will it take to beat SVG? He said something like last week at Chicago where they had a tire advantage on him, or if we can beat him, it makes a mistake.
Yeah, they were one of those drivers and teams at a crossroads on strategy. They said, let's bring him in, put him on offense. I like that with Reddick. And you talk about other drivers in the top 15 today. Can't say enough about Brad Keselowski in 12.
Yeah, last time by, the second fastest car on the racetrack, just minding his P's and Q's. You said it, Dale. It sounds easy, but just keep it on the pavement. That's what Brad Keselowski has done. You see, he started just outside the top 20. He's just outside the top 10 right now.
Joey Logano inside the top 15. One career road course win for him. Kane Watkins win 10 years ago, 22. Doing a nice job.
This has been a hotly contested little battle right here between him and the 99 of Suarez at 1. Back there as well, Chastain. All those guys in the little gaggle right here throughout this whole run. Because the emotion for the 99, right? He's won here before, but then he comes here looking for a ride for next year. It's been announced that he will not return to Trackhouse. Chastain is oh!
Suarez goes around. This is turn 11. Bowman trying to take advantage and drive through.
Wow. His own teammate is a stack up, obviously not on purpose. I'm going to have to take another look at it, whether Logano kind of checked Suarez up. Oh, man, that was, Suarez saw the block, or saw the, the dive bomb of the one. One's trying to outbrake his teammate, right? So the one's going to fade to the inside here to outbrake his teammate. Suarez says, nope, I'm going to block that. And they're just overcommitted. And so, Chastain has to use the 99 to slow himself down. And that's going to send, 54 almost missed the corner too. And replay of him struggling with his car in the braking zone. I see what you're saying. The 99 dive bombs, and he's going so much faster. That's full commitment. And when his lane's taken away by the 99, his only option is hit. Yeah.
Man, that's frustrating. And I wonder, if there was a plan. If Suarez knows he's going to be there next year, does he treat him differently in that bracket zone, right? And now that he knows, hey, you're not my teammate anymore. I'm going to block. I'm going to block you here. That kind of costs him.
Logano got hit in the bumper, and he was checking his mirror to see what was happening.
Yeah.
That's going to pay off, though. You really can't say enough about Chastain. Ran long, got the stage win, and now is back inside the top 15. Here's Bowman 15th, and he's got company. Austin Cindric is there.
Cindric's got some real big. Austin knows that car. He's running the back somebody pretty hard to knock the grill back. And the hood, you see it right side of the hood. 77 has been on pit road several times trying to fix that race car.
Surprised that Hossabarn disappointed for him because of the speed that they showed last week in Chicago.
Yeah.
And just, got wrecked early, couldn't pay it all.
Well, we saw him fly that tire really bad over there in 8A when they had this 42. I think that's fun around. One or two flat spot in the tire and had to get to pit road. 5 of Larson trying to rebound from a pretty abysmal beginning of this race. He's now up to 17th in this 5 car. You see, still struggling in the braking zone. The rear's locking up into turn 7. We get back to Zane Smith with the 38. One of our bracket contenders going up against Gibbs. And he's here today behind this 5 of Larson.
Dale, you said it. All a little quiet about the 5 numbers, but they had them rolled over the summer.
Yeah. This guy here, Zane Smith, worked really hard to get better and starting to show some of the flashes of what he could be. I really believe that, should this team get better or he find himself in a more competitive race car, he's got what it takes, got the talent to do it. Marty, what you got on this two-car?
Just to clean up where that contact came from. Remember John Nemechek spinning earlier in the race, Junior? Austin Tindrick was the man who hit him. So when they had that big stack up, they were 3 wide early in the race. It was Austin Tindrick, and that's the damage of the two.
That's more shit than I thought he got during that wreck. Might be hurting his two-car.
8 laps to go to stage 2. We'll start thinking strategy. We'll break it all down for you when we return on TNT.
All right, 8 laps to go in the second stage here today at Sonoma. Lap 48 of 110 overall. We're going to be right at halfway as soon as the second stage comes to an end. So 55 laps, the entire second half of the race will make up stage 3. We'll be having pit stops within the next 3 to 4 laps as drivers will short pit the end of the stage, just as we saw for stage 1 and what we usually see for these stage yellows on road courses. Road courses, Pocono, and Indy, essentially. Shane Van Gisbergen, 2.9 seconds ahead of Chase Briscoe at the moment. 5.2 seconds on Ryan Blaney in third. 6 seconds to William Byron in fourth. Christopher Bell, 6.5 seconds off the lead in fifth. And Chris Buescher, 6.9 seconds back in sixth. 9.3 seconds to Chase Elliott in seventh. Michael McDowell, 9.7 seconds off the lead in eighth. Ty Gibbs, ninth, 11.6 seconds back. And Ryan Preece rounds out the top 10, 12.5 seconds off the lead for Preece. And that's going to jumble up quite a bit based off of who is going to pit, who will not pit, stay out and get some stage points for stage number 2. I don't think SVG is going to cycle out in second place again like he did in the last stage because his gap over the rest of the field isn't as big as what it was back in stage 1. It's only got about 3 seconds over Chase Briscoe in second right now. And for instance, even back to Chase Elliott, 10 seconds, where he had about 10 seconds over the 4th place car in the last stage. 10th place is only about 13 seconds off the lead, where I think it was close to 20 back in stage 1. So the field is getting tighter to SVG as all these drivers have made their first adjustments with the first stop, and we're still guaranteed 2 more pit stops the rest of the way as well. Rebel sold Jerry Marty, thanks for tuning in. He got herself chink up to keep up with SVG. I will say SVG probably more able to adapt to these race cars than what he is with the Xfinity cars, just because these cars drive closer to a V8 supercar, which is where most of his racing background comes from. And the Xfinity Series side races just more like a stock car, essentially. Next gen, obviously, very different from any other iteration of stock cars that we've seen on the NASCAR ranks before. You know, V8 supercars, sports cars in general, maybe a little bit closer to that of this current next-gen Cup car.
Snap around, everybody else is not doing that, so they feel like they didn't go far enough to tighten up that 54 fall.
But interesting to see so many people having balance problems. But this lead tire that they brought to work here this year, Steve, has really been a big gain in terms of making these races more dynamic. Adam's left laughing because he knows where I'm going. I went and saw Alan Buxton today, and he goes, well, we went to Dakota, and the cars had no grip. Everybody says because the track was changed. Then we went to Mexico City, and everybody had no grip, and everybody said it's because we were 7,000 feet. He goes, then we went to Sonoma, we still have no grip. He goes, I'm starting to believe it's this tire. And I started to
How long is it going to take us to figure this out?
He goes, I didn't think that was the case on Thursday, but standing here on Sunday, I'm starting to really think it's a tire.
Hey, just a reminder
Oh.
that Chris Buescher, all he does in the next gen era is finish top 5 at
Man.
Sonoma. Just quietly drives up there. Here he is, 5th with 5 to go in the stage. It's just like clockwork, Marty. Adam, it truly is with Chris Buescher, not only on all the road courses, but especially here at Sonoma. His worst finished last 3 races here, 4th, and he has done it in workmanlike fashion today. Remember, he got knocked off the track very early in the race. He's methodically worked his way up through the field, making genuine passes, and just told Scott Graves a moment ago, Steve, you love to hear this as a crew chief. No changes. Very happy with the call.
No changes, very happy. 5 to go.
I'm amazed at how much Ty Gibbs has fallen off in this stage. Remember, he drove up to 3rd on the restart. He is now 16 seconds off the lead in 10th. Does he stay out to get stage points? Considering where he's at in the point standings entering today, as we do begin green flag pit stops for stage 2. Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, a couple Toyotas are in.
Christopher Bell, remember, he had that on the track, was able to drive back up. Not good on the long run. He says the car needs longevity. 4 tire adjustment is Christopher Bell.
Terrific drives. How about Michael McDowell? Started 15th today and has slowly worked his way up into the top 10. Travis Peterson told him in the middle of his run, with the pace you're running right now, our playbook could maybe be a little bit more open in stage 3. Stay tuned for that. But full freshman year's going on right now.
Yeah, Michael McDowell's been sneaky good in this race today. Very quiet, but a solid day. Reminder, by the way, the fantasy lineups lock up at the end of stage 2. Alex Bowman also in the pits.
Alex Bowman is in now. 4 tires, fuel is the call, wedge and air pressure adjustments. That's what Blake Harris told Alex Bowman.
Road is busy, leader on the racetrack.
SVG should stay out this time by, and he'll probably end up waiting another lap before he comes on to pit road. Same will be for Chase Briscoe since he's close enough to the leader. Same for Ryan Blaney. William Byron going to come in. Same for Ryan Preece. Chris Buescher, rather. I'm sure Preece will come in also, though. He's not that far behind. Byron, Buescher, Elliott, Preece, all in the pits.
Yeah, 24, William Byron just faking there on the long.
And Ross Chastain.
Not super pretty. I've just been trying to hang on. That's what you've been doing with 4 tires for William Byron, Marty Snyder.
Chris Buescher needs to run here in stage 2, trying to keep themselves in the game to maybe compete with SVG for the win, much like they did Watkins Glen last year. Again, Buescher said on the radio, don't want any changes here. Just 4 fresh Goodyear tires fitting with 3 to go in stage 2.
I think there's a very good probability that Chastain's going to be the one to stay out and get the stage win. Kyle Larson's still out there on the racetrack as well. So he's probably looking for some regular season points to keep some sort of pace with Byron for the regular season championship. He came in only 19 points back, 3rd in the standings overall. He did not get stage points like Elliott and Byron did, though, in stage 1. I do think more drivers are going to stay out this time. For instance, well, we haven't seen where SVG, Briscoe, or Blaney will cycle because they are just now coming in as the top 3. Chastain in 4th, 26 seconds off the lead. He should stay out, which means Chastain will actually sweep the stages today at Sonoma. He's got about 4 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson.
So it's going to be a blend of these 2 to the racing surface. Pit crews are going to have to do their jobs. Danielle.
Steve, Chase Briscoe running 2nd behind SVG. The team asked him a few laps ago for a check on the balance. He said, balance is good. I do need more forward drive. They said, okay, we'll give it to you, but you have good pace and good rhythm. Keep it.
Coming to 2 to go. Shane Van Gisbergen comes to pit road. Stephen Dorn making the call here. And it's interesting because stage 1 and the entire time about how the car went way too free during that run. On this run here in stage 2, not a mention about the handling of the car. I think there's way more potential in that 88.
Oh, you see those guys blend up.
Perry, thanks for tuning in. Probably not a smart bet to have your money on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the race today. I don't think he's going to have a really great shot to win. I don't think he's even cracked the top 20 today on speed. He is in 4th right now because he stayed out to get some stage points here at the end of this opening stage. I mentioned about Ross Chastain potentially not hitting pit road. He did come into the pits, surprisingly. Kyle Larson stays out. I think he's going to get the stage win. He's about a second ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen right now. But yeah, I'm shocked. Chastain, I thought for sure was going to stay out and get the stage win just as he did in stage 1, but instead he pits with the leaders. He was 26 seconds off of the race lead at the time of the stop. He was barely able to get to the commitment line before race leader SVG at that time was able to get to the start-finish line, which would have closed the stage with 2 to go. So now we're going to have to monitor the lap times of the fresh tires for Shane Van Gisbergen and the older tires for Kyle Larson, because although Larson stayed out to try to get this playoff point in the stage win, I don't know that he's necessarily going to hold on. He's got 30-lap older tires, and we've seen about a second plus a fall off over the course of a 20-lap stint, which is about how many laps he really has on green flag laps when you exclude the stage caution at the end of stage 1. Final lap of the stage right now, SVG is totally on offense. Great run out of turn 2. Looks alongside Larson in turn 3. Larson's got no shot to get by him, but he makes contact with Van Gisbergen. Out of the 3rd turn, SVG gets a little loose. Larson gets another run at him, but I don't think he's going to have the tires underneath him to be able to outbrake SVG now that he's at the deficit of being back in second. So Larson's still going to get some points for the regular season championship. 9 versus Byron's 1 in this stage. Byron did get 6 points in stage 1. Currently, the 24 car is in 10th. But Van Gisbergen going to pick up yet another playoff point. He's going to pit and still get the stage win. Because there were so many cars that came to pit road. Again, I am shocked that Ross Chastain did not stay out. He's outside the top 20 right now. I just automatically assumed because he did it in stage 1, he was going to do it again in stage 2. When a day isn't going great for you. I don't understand the logic there and not capitalizing on both playoff points, but SVG will take the playoff point, though. We know he's locked in with 2 wins already, looking for a 3rd race win today. He's by far led the most laps. I'm not going to say that nobody's been in his league today, because on the short run, we've seen a handful of drivers be able to keep up with him for about 10 to 15 laps. The long run speed is definitely there. We haven't had a caution for incident yet, but if we do in stage 3, I'm not going to count anybody else out of it for the moment. Shane Van Gisbergen, after winning the 2nd stage of the race, I believe that is the 1st stage win of the year for him. Let me check just to make sure. I don't think he stayed out to try to get... no, he does have 1. Okay, so this is the 2nd stage win of the year for SVG. Did he get one in Mexico City? No, it was last week, I believe. No, McDowell won stage 1 last week. Was it stage 2? No, I can't remember. I think it might have been stage 2 SVG got the... No, because Blaney got the stage win last week. I'm really having a tough time trying to figure out where SVG's 1st stage win of the year came. I mean, it had to have come on a road course. Was it Coda? Like real early in the year? Well, whatever the case is, 2nd stage win of the year for Shane Van Gisbergen. You guys are going to have to help me in the chat where he won his 1st stage at. So I'm drawing a blank. So I apologize for that. But, yeah, 2nd stage win of the year. He's got 2 race wins. And trying to go for a 3rd here today. Kyle Larson ends up 2nd in stage 2. Kyle Busch 3rd. Bubba Wallace 4th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 5th. And Chase Briscoe in 6th. Ty Dillon 7th. Chris Buescher 8th. Ryan Blaney 9th. William Byron rounds out the top 10. Andrew Hughes, Lizard King, 430 saying Mexico. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to that Mexico race. If it would have been stage 1 or stage 2. Was it stage 1 in Mexico then? Stage 2. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate the chat helping me out there. Brainstorming. Yeah, I honestly didn't remember. That was throwing me for a loop because I just automatically assumed because he's been dominating those races that he just, you know, pits before the end of the stage and sacrifices a stage win. But even with pitting before the end of both stages today, 1st and 2nd, 19 stage points for him. I think he's too far back in the standings. He's not going to get into the top 10 of the regular season championship battle, so he won't be able to get additional playoff points there. But obviously he's working himself forward more and more in the point standings with these road races and scoring a lot of points in them. He was 34th in points when he first got his win in Mexico City, and now he's up to 27th and could probably move into the top 25 pretty easily with the race he has had so far, especially if he wins. He has the fastest lap. So if he holds on to the fastest lap of the race as well, he can move in with a 60-point performance today. J-Ski help with that. All right, yeah, thanks for that. Yep, end of stage 2. We'll close the chat poll down. I'll wait for pit stops to cycle through first, though.
Mark to Friday, 5 Eastern on FS1. Xfinity busy day on Saturday. All the action on CW. Cup practice and qualifying Saturday on True TV at 1:30. Sunday, we've got the Monster Mile coming your way on TNT, and we can't wait for it. Napa onboard camera looking driver Chase Elliott, winner a couple of weeks ago. His home track, Atlanta Motor Speedway. I should say Echo Park Speedway.
Yeah, come on.
I know.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, let's see here. I'm doing a little draw. A little Dale pointed this out. Check this out. We talk about the mirror all the time. There's a perfect example of the digital mirror that he's able to do. That's off the back of the roof. And basically looking back, and he has in a position, Dale, where he can just check that thing nice and easy.
Man. It's too good. I think they should get rid of it.
It's crazy the first time I heard, but I'm kind of with Dale. I think the art of blocking and stuff needs to be a communication with your spotters. You see now the cars coming to pit road who have yet to pit. Larson and Bush, Bubba Wallace, who you mentioned at so many points.
Alan?
Yeah, just a rough day for the 5 teams. Still trying to find that grip with every adjustment. They're going to put 4 tires on it. They did get some stage points there. Bubba Wallace, a win for him so far. 15 stage points on the day. He said he lost all his left side grip in the last few laps of that stage. We'll try to put a fix on it, Danielle.
Kyle Busch finished that second stage in third, wanted to get those precious stage points as well, Alan. And remember that last stop? It was a lengthy stop because Kyle was so unhappy with the car. He just told Randall Burnett, whatever adjustments you did then made everything better. It was so good, I wish I could have it again.
You know, planning strategy in a road course is so challenging. But today it's exaggerated by the fact that Shane Van Gisbergen has been so strong. Larson wins the race off pit road. Busch and Wallace behind him. Final stage from Sonoma next.
Does anybody have anything for Shane Van Gisbergen in Stage 3? Yesterday it was Connor Zilic. Will anybody step up to the plate this afternoon for the Cup Series race? 52 laps led for SVG. He had a stage win, second place in Stage 1. He's been dominant. Started on the pole, obviously. He finished second in the Xfinity race yesterday. He was one of only 2 drivers to pull double duty this weekend. Riley Herbst was the other, though we have not really seen him crack the top 10 yet. Both cautions so far were for the stage ends at lap 25 and lap 55. We've had 4 lead changes, though, all during green flag pit stops as we approach the final stage in the second half of the race. So, yeah, chat poll will close end of Stage 2. 110 votes were casted, so thank you to everybody who did vote for who you think will win today's race. Van Gisbergen leads the poll, 56%. 22% of you say somebody other than Byron Allmendinger or SVG will win. AJ and Byron both getting 10% of the votes. So fantasy leagues are all locked up as of right now as well. I'm using my last start for William Byron here today. He's having too good of a day going for him. I took AJ Allmendinger out of my lineup and put Byron in there because Byron was originally in the garage because I could only use him once. Everybody else on my team has had a pretty solid points day so far. Outside of maybe Chastain, but he did win a stage, so that kind of picked him up a little bit for where he's running in the running order currently. And then I had SVG, Chris Buescher, who is top 10, Byron, Gibbs. So the other 4 have been in the top 10 all day, head-to-head, and really the in-season tournament matchup. So as of right now on the in-season tournament matchup, Ty Gibbs versus Zane Smith. Ty Gibbs is currently 10th, and Zane Smith is 22nd. Then Ryan Preece versus Tyler Reddick. Preece 9th, Reddick 11th. Alex Bowman 18th, Ty Dillon 20th. Ty Dillon's got a shot still. Only 2 positions off of Alex Bowman to begin the final stage for their matchup. Remember, Dillon, the 32 seed, the last seed in this tournament, he's hanging on. Jonathan Nemechek and Eric Jones. Nemechek is 37th. And Eric Jones, 27th. Nemechek had a spin at the beginning of Stage 2. Although Jones hasn't had a good day, he's at least kept the car clean. So we'll monitor that more as we get into the final stage of this race, now that we only have 55 laps to go. 1B, thanks for tuning in.
Sponsored by National Debt Relief. When debt gets hard, National Debt Relief gets you back on track. Carson Hupsar 1 lap down, gets back to the lead lap here. He is scored back in the 36th position. And now our progressive race recap. Ross Chastain runs it long, wins the opening stint of the race. Shane Van Gisbergen, incredible hits and still wins Stage 2. It's been a quiet day with that caution flag.
That's rare when you flip a stage and still winning. So pretty incredible pace by SVG.
Leading 53 and 58 laps, Shannon.
Really incredible by SVG, putting on an absolute clinic. I want to talk about that 5 car, though. We've said Kyle Larson more in the last few minutes than we have in the last couple of weeks. What do you make of what they just tried to do?
Well, Shannon, it's obviously been a struggle, and he won this race last year. He's actually won it twice in the last 5 years. And I think back to the 5 car, they win at Kansas. He does that Indy doubleheader, and the 5 car has struggled by the standards that we hold them to. Only 1 top 5 finish since then. But the car that I think has a chance to beat SVG is the 19. I know that they said Shane was saving tires a little bit right there, but when I looked at those last 4 or 5 laps, the 19's pace was very similar. If he can get ahead of Shane right here and try to get control of this race, I think he's got a shot at.
What do you think?
Well, I've been keeping my eye on the 8 of Kyle Busch. Came in this race 46 points below the cut line. Had been the second fastest car on road courses this season. They were abysmal in stage 1. Kyle said there was no grip in that car. They did massive changes, and he just felt that like they had made some improvements in the rear of that race car, but really interesting to see the 8 struggling as much as he has on the road courses. And this tire has been amazing, how it falls off suddenly. It's caught a lot of teams for a loop.
Steve, I heard you guys up there reacting to SVG flipping the stage and then going on and winning it. How deflating is it for a driver inside the race car? And as a crew chief, what do you say to your guy?
Well, I think when we heard the update to Ty Gibbs that he has great speed, not SVG speed, but great speed, told me the story. They've just put him in a class of his own, right? They're basically not saying he can't be beat, but he has such an advantage that they're almost kind of ignoring him on their adjustments, not dialing their car out to try to beat him.
Now let's go to something that happened on the pit lane here just a little bit ago as we were heading toward the end of stage 2.
Yeah, there's a little bit of an issue. Get down into turn 11. The 6 ships the 54
Oh.
of Ty Gibbs. For the 17, actually, does that. And so, watching right on board, Christopher Buescher doesn't like the block. Says, hey, I'll send you in there a little farther. 54 is lucky not to spin out right there. And then on pit road, there was a little bit more of an issue. Maybe we'll see later between the 6 and the.
All right, heading up for the restart to begin the final stage. Shane Van Gisbergen and Chase Briscoe in the front row. This is how we started the race with these two. And let's see if Briscoe has a better run at trying to hang on with the 88 car. He fell out of second place, much better in the long run pace in stage 2 than stage 1. Great adjustments made to the 19 team there. Ryan Blaney's been pacing very well, right in line behind the 19. Remember, he said he owes him one, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. As the green flag is back in the air, we're underway through the first turn side by side, and they'll stay nose to nose for the lead through turn 2 as well. 88 with some pretty heavy pressure by the 19. I mean, they're dead even as they head for turn 3. Now, Van Gisbergen will have the advantage on the inside of turn 4 and turn 7 if Briscoe is able to hold on to the outside long enough to get to those corners. So far, he's still on the outside into turn 4. Now he'll duck in line behind SVG. We got one car sliding sideways into an Armco barrier. That's Noah Gregson. He backs it into the wall out of turn 3A. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, SVG out of turn 7 and holds on to the lead into the S's. He was able to get in front of Briscoe. Chris Buescher did a great job on the restart, getting by both William Byron and Ryan Blaney. So now Buescher is up to 3rd. Ryan Preece with heavy pressure on Christopher Bell for 8th. Middle of the top 10. A lot of drivers jumping out of line, making late dives into turn 11. Chase Elliott underneath his teammate William Byron. Byron tried that wider line. I think he was just trying not to get log jammed behind everybody else who was braking late in front of him. Smart move. He was able to still get a good drive off out of turn 11 to stay in front of his teammate Elliott for now. We go green to the end of the race. Everybody's going to have to pit at least one more time. We'll have to see what the strategy will land for when exactly to pit, because we have seen tire fall up today, which is something we did not see at all in the Xfinity race yesterday. And wouldn't have expected to see fall off in the Cup race as a result of not seeing any yesterday either, but that has just not been the case. A lot of jockeying for position, middle of the pack still ongoing as well. Chastain up the inside of Brad Keselowski in turn 7. They run tight door to door. And they're still door to door in the S's, the 1 and the 6. Much better exit to the corner for Chastain. He pulls clear. Keselowski, Zane Smith able to just slip on by the 6 as well. And now headed down for turn 11. Ryan Blaney, late breaking into turn 11. Gets to the inside of Buescher, looking to regain that 3rd spot that he lost on the restart to the 17. Through the first turn, side by side. Across the start-finish line. This is a very tight battle. Getting into one another. There's contact. Blaney goes wide. Way wide. And he's going to end up in the tire barrier, I believe, out towards turn 1. And he does have significant nose damage. And he seems to be stuck. And now Bubba Wallace goes around just as the caution flag is coming out. The 11 of Denny Hamlin also collected. I don't know if the yellow flag was out and that might have caused that stack up afterwards. I think it was almost simultaneous, really. Caution is for Ryan Blaney. Their contact with Chris Buescher battling door to door through the first turn.
You know, it's funny about that. A little bit of the opposite of what we saw here last year. Last year, 8 cautions first 2 stages, no cautions final stage. And
I hope the 17 gets loose. And I just hate to think of how angry this guy in the 12 car is. Blaney already frustrated by how the 19 ran him earlier in the race down to turn 4, and that's really going to have him hot. That he didn't get taken care of there. Racing side by side through this part of the racetrack, you kind of got to give each other a little grace.
He just missed the concrete wall. I thought he might have gotten into
9 times out of 10, just got away from him.
the tire barrier, but he missed it.
Steve, I wonder if
Just got stuck.
underestimating the lack of grip. Look how sideways they are. Both of them really lucky, honestly. We've seen cars get upside down at this particular. Look at that barrier. Just missing the end of that barrier. That could have been catastrophic.
I believe that was the area last year where Blaney's teammate Cindric almost went upside down. Bubba was 22nd when he went for a ride. Hamlin was 30th back in the ball.
So there was no contact that sent Bubba Wallace around in turn 2. It looked like the same thing that happened to, I believe it was A.J. Allmendinger in the last stage, is how he spun, where both Briscoe and Gibbs kind of went off track below the curbing in turn 2, kicked some dust up onto the racetrack, and A.J. just basically lost control. He's the first one into there. That was the same thing that happened to Wallace. The 2 cars that were in front of him went through the dirt area of the racetrack, the grass, if you will, the dead grass, and kicked some of the marbles up onto the racing line, and Wallace was the first one there. Hamlin got spun in the aftermath of it by somebody else behind him because they were all checking up for the spinning 23. So now the 23 and the 11 going to be headed towards the tail end of the field. And Ryan Blaney, I don't think has too much damage. Should be able to continue, but now he's at the tail end of the field if he is able to continue on. Versus battling for third and looking to make that pass on Buescher prior to the incident between the two. Buescher only lost a spot to William Byron after the slide and contact, so he's still in 4th. As again, we work our first caution for incident here today at Sonoma. Lap 62 of 110, just under 50 laps to go. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the Toyota Save Mart 350. As far as what actually happened to Blaney, he got underneath of Buescher into turn 11, looking to make a pass for third. They were side by side through 12, crossed the start-finish line, and then when they got into turn 1, they were still door to door. And Buescher, who was on the inside in turn 1, just got a little loose, washed up into the 12 that forced the 12 wide off track. He did not hit the wall like I thought he did. From the camera angle I first saw, he just luckily missed it. And whatever nose damage he might have sustained is because he caught this dip in the racetrack, well, off the racetrack. But there was a dip where his car had gotten stuck. Looked like the rear tires were up off the ground, but the front tires and the nose was kind of dug in and planted right in the middle where the elevation change would basically be in turn 2, but off the race course.
Cup Series Racing on TNT is brought to you by the Credit One Bank NASCAR American Express Card. And by Progressive. Protect your auto, home, and business today at Progressive.com.
Oh, only a couple takers. McDowell and Cindric off pit road. Rest of the field stayed out.
I like how they come back from break just to go right back to commercial again. Probably because they were maybe expecting more cars to hit pit road, but only a few of them at the back of the pack are going to pit. Obviously, outside the fuel window, we only went about 3 or 4 laps there at the most before that caution, so a little too early in the run to pit for tires. Shane Van Gisbergen is our race leader under caution. Chase Briscoe second, William Byron third, Chris Buescher fourth. Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 in fifth. 6 lead changes so far. all of which during green flag pit stops. And then I believe Briscoe actually led a lap on that last restart, the good launch in the restart zone. Yeah, so that was one of the lead changes. Then SVG would have gotten it back at the timing line the next time around. Leaderboard says he's a lap down. Yeah, okay, now he is. When I scroll down to the bottom, he was on the lead lap. Now it does see that he is a lap down. I would assume he's unstuck now. Well, the good news is if we catch another caution, he gets the free pass. But the bad news is I think he does have a decent amount of nose damage from where the car dug into the grass. Not because it was wet by any means. It's obviously super dry, but there's like an access road where his car got stuck, and there's a huge dip in the ground from the elevation change to go uphill towards turn 2. You're basically climbing a mountain at that point, and whatever damage he does have, it looks like it is splitter related. We'll see if he's going to be able to continue on. Like I said, I would assume he can continue, but say he's going to have anywhere near the same speed he did, obviously not the case. Had a great day going for him. Obviously, again, looking to battle for third. He was in the top 5 on speed all day long. Really the best I've seen Blaney on a road course in the next-gen car, easily. Like, hands down, I have not seen him run this well with the next-gen from start to finish of a race. The fact that he qualified top 10 was already rare, but was able to stay up in the top 5 all day, too. I had to make my wardrobe change back to my Blaney getup because I didn't realize I didn't have it on from when I left work. And so I made that mid-race, and then sure enough, I put the Blaney shirt on, the Blaney hat on, and he wrecks within 20 laps.
So let's take another look right here. So 17 into the back of the 54. That's that red and white car. Now let's go on board. I think with the 17, you're going to see it. So he shoots the 54 out. Now, coming onto pit road, let me just show you real quick. Okay, this is the 17's pit box. The 54 is right here. You see the tire carrier. Now let's roll it forward. Watch this 54. Go left, right into the pit box. That might actually be the 6 pit box. I can't tell if it's the 6 or the 17. And then there's words because it's RFK. It's basically Gibbs RFK disagreement on pit road because of what happened onto the racetrack. Danielle.
Yeah, that tire carrier's name, Steve, is Telvin McClurkin. I just talked to him. He said when the 54 came in, I was holding that tire, and the car, Ty Gibbs' car, hit my hands and twisted my wrist. I was able to complete the stop, but it slowed Brad's stop. He said my wrists and my hands are okay. I am going to continue. I'm fine, but he wanted to walk over to the 54 pit and show his displeasure.
This is worth telling the story because we have another pit stop. And I will say, and I would say to this here, I'm okay with the pushing and shoving on the racetrack. I'm impressed with the 54's move right there. I think you're in a 3,500-pound race car, and those pit crew guys are jumping out in front of it. We only had one look at it. I have to see a few more. But if Ty Gibbs really did make a move with a pit crew member, I think NASCAR should take a look at it. What do you have on the 12?
I'd like to think he did.
Assessing the damage from running off track there. They pulled out some fender there. Now they're looking under the right front. Yeah, if you can see there. Looks like they might pop the hood up to see what damage may have caused under there. They just want to make sure they can assess it, get that fast car back out there. Ryan Blaney came on the radio and said, look, did I give him enough room, during this incident? And they said, look, the replay we saw, yeah, you did. So they're trying to calm the driver down, fix the car, get that 12 car back out there again.
46 to go.
It's a mess.
And we did have a few drivers come down pit road under this caution, Marty, among them Michael McDowell. Yeah, Travis Peterson told Michael McDowell, we are coming down pit road. And McDowell said, no matter what, yes, they were coming down pit road because according to Travis Peterson, Steve, they can make it to the end of the race. Now, the big question, obviously, we've seen massive tire wear and lap times go down as the run goes on. Big here at Sonoma this weekend. So McDowell will restart 29th, but in their mind, they fuel-wise can make it to the end of the race. The big question is, how will those tires hold up?
Well, I think this is 7 races to the playoffs. Michael McDowell came in 24th in points. Travis Peterson is a gambler. I think it's a lower odds gamble because even if he makes it on fuel, I think guys could hit and outrun him. But you can't stand up here and then question every gamble and then get on the pre-race show and hope somebody gambles to win the race. Like, it's a calculated risk. I don't think it has a huge chance of paying off, But I would love to be proven wrong. Travis Peterson and McDowell have manufactured some impressive runs with creative pit strategy.
Travis must feel like the other strategy of staying out was going to get beat. So
Right.
yeah, I love this. I love what the playoffs have created, and we see gambles like this.
Cindric, Suarez, Ty Dillon also pitted.
All right. Well, we're going to try this again. Last couple of restarts we've had have been an absolute mess. We'll see if this one is going to be any bit better. And egregiously a mess, but just in the sake of contact everywhere you look around the racetrack. And haven't seen as many guys necessarily go for a spin to this point, but obviously Ryan Blaney, the most recent to have some sort of a issue, really the most major issue we've seen on track today. Following contact with the 17, who's inside of row 2, SVG Briscoe front row for the restart again as the green flag's back in the air. Briscoe was able to hold with SVG for about the first 3.5 to 4 turns on the last restart. SVG kind of running the 19 just a little bit wide. Briscoe actually kind of clipped the grass up off the exit of turn 2 as Van Gisbergen is clear. Chase Elliott's like contact with Chris Buescher as they battle for 4th. Byron sneaks to the inside of the 19 car, looking to get back into 2nd, but that's a bluff, as in turn 4 he's able to get a good run anyway off the exit of the corner. And still challenged for 2nd place, despite the fact that initially through turn 4 didn't look like it was going to work out well for him. This intense battle, though, through the essence of being side by side, they nearly made contact with one another again. Mentioned earlier, that's a tight area of the racetrack to run side by side on. Probably the tightest with the twisting back and forth of turns. 3 wide, we saw one of the couple of spins that we've seen today. It's when John Hunter Nemechek went around back in stage 2. Elliott off-roading out of turn 10 a little bit too far wide as he's pushing hard, trying to keep up with these couple cars just in front of him of Briscoe and Byron. Ty Gibbs on the inside of Tyler Reddick. 2 Toyotas door-to-door through turn 1. And they'll battle up the hill through turn 2 now. Side by side for about 3 to 4 consecutive corners, the 54 and the 45, while the 54 of Gibbs will win the battle. Into turn 4, Reddick trying to break a little bit later. Down to the inside, not able to get underneath of Gibbs there. But into turn 7, he overcooks the corner, trying to make a pass on Gibbs anyway. He goes so far wide that he actually cleared the 54, but slowed both cars down enough, and Alex Bowman will come through and get past both Reddick and Gibbs. Through that 7th turn, that moves Bowman up to 8th. Highest we've really seen Bowman in the running order since the very start of the race where he qualified 9th. .1 second difference between SVG Chase Briscoe at the front of the field, 1.5 seconds to William Byron in 3rd, 2 seconds to Chase Elliott in 4th, and 2.4 seconds back is Christopher Bell in 5th. That rounds out our top 5 with still about 43 laps to go. I'm surprised that they could go that far on a full fuel run, but apparently Michael McDowell's team thinks that they can make it on fuel to the end of the race. It's got to be super tight. I don't know. Sure, they got the car full of fuel with how few of cars that ended up actually pitting during that last caution, but still. I think it's a little bit too much of a head scratcher. Side-by-side commercial break on TNT for the moment. We'll just go through the full field running order now that we're at the 43 lap to go mark. Van Gisbergen out ahead by just over a second over Chase Briscoe still. After Briscoe in 2nd, William Byron is 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, and Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Chris Buescher in 6th, Ryan Preece 7th, Alex Bowman 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, 10th is Tyler Reddick. Brad Keselowski 11th, Ross Chastain 12th, Kyle Larson 13th, Zane Smith 14th, Cole Custer 15th, Austin Dillon in 16th, Kyle Busch 17th, 18th is Joey Logano, Riley Herbst 19th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 20th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 21st, Carson Hocevar 22nd, AJ Allmendinger 23rd, Ty Gillen 24th, Cody Ware 25th, Michael McDowell 26th, Bubba Walls 27th, Daniel Suarez 28th, Austin Cindric 29th, and Justin Haley 30th. Josh Berry 31st, Ty Dillon 32nd, Noah Gragson 33rd, Denny Hamlin 34th, and Catherine Legg 35th. Eric Jones 36th, and then Ryan Blaney 2 laps down, but is still in the race in 37th. Major repairs made to his race car and adjustments following the incident that he had on track, which brought out our only caution for incident so far in the race today. Van Gisbergen has dominated from the pole. 6 lead changes, 3 cautions. I mentioned, again, only 1 for incident, which was not long ago here in the early going of stage 3 after contact between Chris Buescher and Ryan Blaney in turn 1. Just over an hour and 45 minutes into today's race through the first 69 of 110 laps. As the race progresses onward, we'll let you listen in to more of the TNT coverage when they come back from commercial. For now, we'll take a quick break on our own. You're listening live on KRC to the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma.
Talk about going off to Dover, Delaware next weekend. Cup cars, Xfinity cars there as well. Xfinity action Saturday Eastern on CW. Dale Jr.'s team trying to continue the win streak been rolling.
All guy on concrete. That would be my pick.
I bet you pick Connor Zillich.
Well,
He went in everywhere.
I was gonna say I'm not real sure he's a hard guy to bet against. Although he did beat the Chewy Top Dog, our man Zilch. That's got another one.
Yeah, let's do the Chewy Top Dog. And I was going to give you guys 3 choices here. Shane Van Gisbergen, or SVG, right? I mean, he's been unbelievable lately.
Yeah, it's been pretty incredible. I didn't expect him to have this much of an advantage at this racetrack. We talked about it at length about how good he is in Mexico City and Chicago. And we come to these road courses where there's a lot of NASCAR history and experience. And again, this weekend, they have the upper hand.
So I agree. I was in the same seat as you. Do you feel SVG running this car full time? I know they're olds. Just makes it more comfortable, like the car is more natural than when you jump in and out. He runs it every single week. I know that on road courses, but he does seem to be very comfortable.
That's a dangerous idea, especially going into Wackett's Land. Still one more road course race left before the playoffs begin. And how much better could he get on the ovals? He's going to have to do it quickly, right? To have some kind of a opportunity to move forward in the plains.
I don't think they're going to be like ridiculously rude, but I bet no one lets them slack at Dover. He's like, I've been chasing you for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting you an inch.
Carson Hocevar in that 77 trying to rebound from a pretty rough start in this race. Lost the lap early, got that lap back, sitting in 23rd place right now.
34 Tom Gilliland. Haven't talked about him today, been quiet. Someone that has had success on road courses. And I see the dust, so someone took it off the pavement briefly there.
Right in front of those two, that green car popping out of line right here. There's Gage Alma. They're going by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I don't think we've mentioned his name yet as well. That's 16, trying to recover from that spin earlier. He left inside the top 10 when that happened.
You know, AJ drove that 47 car for a long time. But we should say congratulations, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making his 200th start today from Hayek. That's the most of anyone driving that 47. So been a good run for him. And as we talk about 200, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell making their 200th career starting cup today. So we congratulate them as well.
John Hunter Nemechek inside the 35 of Riley Herbst. We're pushing and shoving down the S's about 30 laps ago. This 42 car Legacy Motor Club. Todd just racing in and race out, just finds a way to improve. Today they're matched up against one another, the 43 and the 42.
You know, Travis Mack is his crew chief. And Travis, of course, won here a few years ago with Daniel Suarez. And I saw him in the garage this morning, and I said, man, good luck today. He said, oh, yeah, thanks. I love this place. I'm like, I bet you do that here in 2022. Great celebration that day for Suarez and everyone at Trackhouse.
You see that in-season challenge. Breeze just ahead of Reddick right now, 7th and 11th place. Reddick struggling just a little bit on the balance of this race car. Has lost a few spots, just got passed by Brad Keselowski the last lap. I thought Reddick would really be strong today. Race up into that top 3. Maybe have an opportunity to match the pace of SVG, but at least on this particular run, he was moving forward at the start of the race, but this particular run right now, that 45 car is fading a little bit. There you see it. Brad Keselowski in the 6 is taking a spot. 54, Todd Gibbs gotten around the 45 just a little bit earlier.
I feel like it's been an unpredictable year for Tyler Reddick. High expectations. They haven't won this year. Got that comfortable spot when you look at the points and everything. But I would say this, like top 5 the last 2 weeks, you feel like they're starting to find something. And then as you said today, just hit and miss on these runs.
So now, as you see, 38 to go, everyone can make it on field if they choose to pit from here. In normal years, you'd already be on pit road. You wouldn't worry about it. But with this whole tire wear and grip thing, we might see cars trickle in just a couple at a time. I think this pit window is going to be long and wide open. So we'll just have to see. It's a little bit game of chicken right now. You pit first. No, wait, you pit first.
I'm looking out our booth window, and I see all this farmland. And I'm like, it's long, it's wide open. Kind of like the window here to make that final pit stop. 38 to go. We'll get busy when we return this.
Well, as you heard, the fuel window is open to make it to the end of the race, but nobody wanting to pit with the tire fall we have had today. It's not severe like some of the other tracks on the schedule, like a Darlington or a Homestead, where it's like 3 to 4 seconds over the course of a full run. But we have seen about a second to a second and a half of fall off in the first 2 stages, and that was on about 20 lap tire stints. With a lot of green flag laps that we have in stage 3, if you were to split it in half, it'd probably be a little less than 25 laps a run, which is the distance of both of those stages. So ideally, I think you're going to see a lot of these teams try to split this final stage in half. And we last restarted at 43 laps to go. We ran about 3 or 4 green flag laps before that. So we might be looking at about, I'd say 25 to go. We'll probably start to see quite a few of them come in. And then some will try to split it directly in half. And maybe more towards the 23 to go, 22 to go frame. But I would expect it to be another 10 to 12 laps before we see quite a few cars come in. Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman battling for position through turn 7. There was a little bit of contact between the 2 cars. Brad Keselowski looked like he just got into the back of the 54 of Gibbs. And that kind of sent Gibbs into the 48 of Bowman. Bowman slid sideways. Great save, though, by Alex. He loses those 2 positions, and then he also got passed by Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain, who were kind of waiting there right behind him. So Bowman is going to slide from 8th to 12th to basically 1 corner. The distance between first and second right now still about 2.3 seconds of a separation on SVG and Chase Briscoe. 3.3 seconds to William Byron in third. 4 seconds to Chase Elliott in fourth. And Christopher Bell is in fifth. Chris Buescher 6th. Ryan Preece 7th. Ty Gibbs 8th. Brad Keselowski 9th. Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 10. Going to be down to 35 laps to go this time by at the line. A lot of racing still to go today. Plenty of time, obviously, for another potential caution to come out. Although it does seem like whenever you get a long green flag run at Sonoma specifically, the cars get more spaced out, less likely to see that incident take place. For instance, last year's final stage went caution for these next-gen cars, despite the fact that there were 8 cautions entirely in the race. Cautions do breed cautions in this sport, believe it or not. And you get a long green flag run in there, and likelihood of 2 cars making contact with one another, especially on a course that's very long like this, becomes less and less and less. During the commercial break that just took place, Kyle Busch went for a spin out of turn 7. Didn't look like he had contact, lost it on his own. He's been struggling for most of the day. He's currently in 24th. I would assume he lost quite a few spots because of that spin. He's lost 5 since the restart, so I'd assume he probably lost at least 5, if not all 5 of those spots from that spin. It was a quick recovery, though, the fact that he was only losing 5 positions, because we've seen quite a few guys spin out today, and they end up basically falling to the tail end of the field. But most of those were on restarts. Just went a little bit deeper into the green flag run in stage 3. I believe Kyle Larson just made a pass on Alex Bowman for 12th. Most alive this 5 car has been for the race today. Qualified pretty deep in the field. Was struggling early. He was as far down as 31st at the end of stage 1. But he's made a decent enough recovery to get to 12th that he's got a good shot at a top 10 day. And he did stay out to get stage points, finished 2nd in stage 2. So at the start of stage 3, he was actually in the back half of the field. So he's making passes. They've made some great adjustments to that 5 car, as they seem to do on a near weekly basis. Especially these last few weeks where Larson is nowhere to be found for the first half of the race. But keep trucking along, and they're able to get at least halfway decent days out of it by the end. And today's another one of those performances.
That was a winning strategy for Kyle Larson. That's great. From an 83, you ran a little bit long. Dave, what's your play on tape to the pit box?
As crazy as it sounds, I'm going to tell a certain number of parts here. So remember, at a road course, the goal would be to pit under green. Because when the caution comes out, the field bunches up. If those cars then pit, you would jump in front of them. So I would just say, hey, I don't want more than, say, 10 cars to get crash tires in front of me. So I would just continue to run as far to the front as I can until 10 guys have pitted, then I feel I'm racing. And then perhaps I would come to pit road. Although I didn't know run hard and save the rear tires was a checkbox option. I like that theory right there. And do both.
What about the 6 cars? Where they fit into the equation, Danielle?
Yeah, Adam, don't look now, but Brad Keselowski is running 9th. He started the day in 21st. Reporting to the team, need a little more drive off the corners, but rolling the center really well. Adam, this is hard to believe, but the former Cup Series champion for 2012 has never won on a road course in the Cup Series. Oh, 50. Say it, there's a chance.
And Brad, and he goes up in front of his teammate, passing Priest there. RFK, 3 cars in the top 10. They put 3 cars in the top 10 twice this year, but the last time they did it on a road course, 2004. But they have brought their A game this afternoon.
Priest is going to have to have a breaker, so Bubba Wallace, they're battling right around that bubble with Bubba Wallace in the 23. Bubba's been able to get a lot of points today with the stages, 15 of his points. So Priest doesn't need to lose that track position. He has to have that good top 10 result to be able to counter what Bubba's been able to do in the first 2 stages of this race.
Chastain played the points game in stage 1, ran it long, won the stage, collected the points, got a playoff point. So immediately your track position is compromised. We've been fighting hard all day long. Been a top 10 machine lately here at Sonoma. It's top 10 last week at Chicago and knocking on the door again. 11th right now for the one.
Yeah, he's hounding his 45. Reddick struggling just a little bit, and I think the one thinks he's a little faster. And here we go to the braking zone to turn 11. Dive down in there. Reddick gives him plenty of room. Says, yep, you are quicker than me. I'm trying to keep the rear tires on this car. I'm not going to argue and fight.
A nice wave as he drives on by. Thank you very much. 32 to go.
Chastain's had a 7th, 10th, and a 5th in the last 3 races here at this racetrack, so that's surprised to see him hovering around that top 10.
You know, I go to Trackhouse and rewind to the All-Star race, and they really had nothing shaking. And post All-Star race, Chastain goes out, wins Coke 600, locks himself into the playoffs. We documented what Shane Van Gisbergen has been doing on the road courses. The complexion has really changed for Justin Marks' operation. And now we look at Chastain and the guy in front of him, Ryan Priest. I would say a lot of similar characteristics for these 2 drivers. Blue collar, roll your sleeves up, go to work.
Priest trying to hold on to this position. Again, not thinking we're losing more positions as we get later in this race. The speed, the bounce, and the waves with 60 car. Chastain again trying to set himself up for another passing opportunity down here. Turn 11 looks like he's in great position. And the 60's coming to pit road. Little replay right here, the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. Oh, big mistake right there. Get down into turn 4. Alan, what you got on the 60?
Ryan Priest told the team he wanted to hit early in the cycle because if he's going to pass up pit road and out there on the track, he's running well, trying to stay there in that playoff race for Ryan Priest. I'm out pit road.
We'll see if this generates any more interest. I still think they have 21 laps in their tires, 21 laps to go. Obama crew chief, simple math, run 4 or 5 more laps and then come to pit road.
Going to be 30 laps to go when Shane Van Gisbergen brings it back around. His advantage 2.6 seconds over Chase Briscoe. Elliott, Byron, Busher, the top 5. Jared Sonoma.
I don't want to go through the full leaderboard because we've had some cars pit, but many of them still have to make a green flag stop yet. So there's some guys that were up towards the front of the field, like Ryan Priest, and a few others that have already made pit stops. I mentioned on the chat side of things that Riley Herbst and Kyle Busch were the first 2 cars to make a stop. Obviously, Busch had the spin about a lap before he came in, and Riley Herbst came in soon after the Busch spin. Alex Bowman has already made his pit stop as well. So he is now back to 30th. I mentioned Priest already making a stop. I believe Austin Dillon has also hit pit road, so both RCR cars have been in for what would be their final stop if it stayed green to the end. Now, if we end up catching a caution late, that could drive quite a few cars onto pit road with the tire wear that we have seen so far today. I mean, we saw Shane Van Gisbergen make easy work of Kyle Larson in just the lap and a half that he had to try to catch him before the end of stage 2, and he had almost a 2-second deficit. Over a second quicker a lap. You know, what is that threshold of if we were to see a late yellow, how many laps would you have to have on your tires to be confident enough that coming in to take fresh tires would be the right move to try to get a better finish than what you were currently running, especially if you were already at the front of the field, because I'm sure you wouldn't want to sacrifice all of that track position. 30 to go. Chris Buescher now on pit road as well, so only Brad Keselowski is left for RFK that has to hit the pits. Great run for Brad right now, currently in 7th. He'll move up to 6th with his teammate on pit road unless Brad comes in as well, but he does not. He'll stay out at least another lap. So 17 of Buescher's in. He was running just in the 6th place position, a little bit outside the top 5. And here he is.
29 laps left here at Sonoma Raceway. The first of the top 5 cars coming to pit road. Chris Buescher, who again said this not one any changes. He's coming for stupid timers here, and he will obviously be able to make it to the end of the race and have a little tire advantage, Danielle, over those who pitted earlier.
Nick is coming in for his scheduled stop. Running 10, he's complaining on the radio that he is really tight. We'll see if Billy Stone can make some adjustments and get him back up there looking for that first win of the season.
That's insane that Reddick's tight when a lot of these drivers have been pretty much fighting loose conditions all day, maybe over adjusting the problem for the 45 of Reddick. SVG stays out at least another lap. Chase Briscoe does as well. 8 seconds back to the current 3rd place car of Chase Elliott. Elliott will come to pit road this time. See if anybody else is going to be on their way in this time around. It does look like Ty Gibbs is also in.
We'll see if the 9 of Chase Elliott gets the attention.
Nope, Brad Keselowski's there.
It's the 9 of
Gibbs stays out.
Elliott, he's one of the top cars up today. He's been quiet on this run, but reported earlier that the car is better. Was struggling with rear grip, just trying to take care of those rear tires, something that Alan Gustafson says he does so well. Meanwhile, Brad Keselowski trying to get over that incident in the pits with his crew members against the 54 earlier. Winless in the Cup Series on road courses. Has track position. There you saw it. Clean stop for Brad Keselowski's crew at RFK.
Frustrating second half of the day for AJ Allmendinger with such high hopes coming in. The spin earlier for AJ, the struggles with the handling as well, but he has worked his way back up through the field. Was running in the top 15 out when he came to pit road. Schedule, green flag pit stops. Final stage inside of 30 laps to go.
Distance is now 5 seconds between Van Gisbergen and Briscoe. And I almost wonder the more time SVG puts on Briscoe, does Briscoe just end up biting the bullet and pitting much earlier than SVG? And that is the case because Briscoe's coming in right now from 2nd place.
See on the pylon on the left. Danielle, what you got?
James Small calling his driver in. Still wants to that balance just a little bit. Chase Briscoe said, I still need more forward drive. Good pace, though. Good rhythm. There you see it. 4 tires for Chase Briscoe. Now the battle and see if he can catch SVG.
This might get SVG's attention. He had that gap that you talked about, Adam, right? So he probably could.
Stenhouse in the pits also. SVG and a lot of the guys on the racetrack right now probably trying to split this final stage in about half. We're still not quite halfway through this final stage. Once we get down, well, we're halfway through the stage right now, but if we exclude the caution laps that were ran and only count the green flag laps, we'd still have about another 4 or 5 more laps to get to halfway. SVG can afford to give up time now, and then it'll just be more on the offense late, which I'm sure that's what his crew chief would probably like more for SVG to be on offense, but I guess he's only going to pit one lap after Briscoe, so he should still cycle out in front of him as long as it is a decent stop for the Red Bull crew. Here's the update on the 88 team.
To the Briscoe. Briscoe was second place car at the beginning of the cycle. So now the 88 is looking for a clean pit stop, absolutely no penalties. I don't care if you even give me a 90% here, guys. Marty.
Yeah, calling it right up the middle here for Steven Doran. When they saw the 19 pit, to your point, Steve, they said, down, we're going to come down pit road. We saw the off-track excursion for SVG a little bit earlier. He said to the team, I'm such an idiot. Said that was totally my fault. Well, 4 fresh Goodyear tires going on for Shane Van Gisbergen. To his little to this with 26 to go. Also, Ty Gibbs is on pit road. He was just outside the top 5. And I want to clean up something. NASCAR did tell Ty Gibbs after that last stop you see him leaving his final stop of the day. They told him when that incident with the 6 at the 54 did nothing wrong. The environment also leaving pit road. We'll see where these guys cycle out.
That's a great update, Marty. Yeah, we have the overhead camera. We're going to show a replay after this pit cycle. We got to get everybody on and off pit road. But I agree. Question whether he was too far left. But actually reviewing it, I feel like that's the best option Gibbs had to get into his pit box. And actually, if you're Brad, the trailing car, you almost got to leave a little gap for the so it looks egregious when you stack it together. But I have to agree, nothing wrong with the move the 54 made. Now Bell stays on the racetrack. Nope, he's going to come get some fresh tires as well right now.
Top 4 had not made their pit stop. McDowell, who was 5th, is the drivers we talk about that had made the pit stop earlier. Feels like he can make it on fuel. Here's Christopher Bell giving up the lead to make his scheduled stop. Alan?
Bell in the pits on the radio, a little frustrated. He just said, I don't know, Adam. I need some lateral grips. We'll take an air freshener, jumps in for the 20 car. Longevity as well in the long run. Christopher Bell on and off pit road, Marty.
Alan, terrific race called by Phil Surgeon today. Remember, he left Ross Chastain on the track for stage 1. They collected the team stage points onto the playoff point. And then in stage 2, Chastain rode through the field into the top 10. So been an impressive day for this team so far. And then with 25 to go. That is green flag stop. So final one to the day, continuing here in Sonoma. Larson and
Kyle Larson is now the race leader. He's 7.5 seconds ahead of Carson Hocevar. Michael McDowell 11 seconds off the lead in 3rd. They have not hit pit road yet. Shane Van Gisbergen is 4th. He has pit. Daniel Suarez hasn't pit. He's in 5th. Austin Cindric in 6th, as well as Ty Dillon in 7th. Justin Haley 8th. Josh Berry 9th. Neither of those 4 have hit pit road. Chase Briscoe, who was 2nd when the green flag pit stop started, 10th. Now he's up to 9th as he just passed Josh Berry for that spot. So others basically kind of holding out right now, running as far as they can on fuel, hoping for a caution. Then they can pit for 4 fresh tires to try to make that time back up. I would assume that that would be the strategy call for those that have not made a stop yet. Outside of maybe the 5 team is going to try to split it more in half, because again, for green flag laps in this final stage, halfway would be about 22, 23 to go. We're at 24 to go right now. I expect Larson probably to pit in the next lap or 2. Unless they try to go on that offensive strategy that I just mentioned of just wanting fresher tires late and have Larson try to get through as many cars as he has to get through. I'd imagine he'd pull more cars into the pits with him as well, so he probably wouldn't even be buried too deep in the field. Michael McDowell in the 71. Trying to rebound. He's about 3 seconds ahead of SVG in 4th. And Van Gisbergen has about 25 lap fresher tires. Green flag laps a little less than 20, but it's still going to be about a second a lap faster just with the tires alone, not even adding the fact that SVG has been the fastest all day long. So it might even be more pace than that compared to those in front of him. So here comes Larson into the pits.
Retired the 5 as expected by that radio. Comes to pit road, Alan.
So he's split in half.
It's for Kyle Larson, the 5 team, but still, again, just outdone in the braking zone. They've got a little better on the long run. They're going to make a few more adjustments, try to get as many positions as they can on a rough day in 5 team.
77, Carson Hocevar in as well. McDowell takes over the race lead, 2.5 seconds in front of Shane Van Gisbergen. Teammates at Spire look good, both of them inside the top 3 there, but we knew it was going to change. With Hocevar having to pit, we'll see what happens with McDowell.
So the cycle is
Denny Hamlin just hit pit road as well. There's still a handful of cars that have not hit the pits entirely. Yeah, showing a replay of the Gibbs pit road incident from earlier. I'm sure there'll be a talking point, and NASCAR may still end up officiating this, at the end of the week. I'm sure they'll take another look at it maybe when the race is over, but I don't expect anything to necessarily come out of that for midweek penalties for the 54 bunch. Denny Hamlin speeding on pit road, too fast entering, already in 35th, so he's just going to have to come back down for a pass-through penalty, which is going to bury him even further back in the pack. Can't really lose too many more positions. He's not 35th yet. I don't know why the leaderboard had him 35th on TNT. He's 25th, not 35th. He'll probably be around 35th after he comes back down onto pit road again for a pass-through. But he's currently 25th spot, so that will probably take him to the tail end of the lead lap, as he's already past halfway there. Shane Van Gisbergen in less than 1 second off the race leader Michael McDowell on the racetrack. Hamlin is serving his penalty right now. He'll follow the last on the lead lap in 36th. And SVG should be able to make a pass on McDowell pretty soon. We'll see if McDowell comes into the pits this time with the 88 trailing him. No, he'll stay out at least one more lap. At this point, if you're Michael McDowell, I would just stay out as far as you can. He's good on fuel to the end of the race. So there is that. Because he was one of the few that actually pitted during the last caution. And on that same strategy was Daniel Suarez and Justin Haley. So that's why they haven't pit yet. They're in 7th and 8th place. Around turn 2, SVG all over the back bumper of McDowell Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. McDowell on a tire disadvantage right now. And do whatever he can to hold off SVG. And Van Gisbergen's got about 3 seconds over Chase Briscoe in 3rd currently. Van Gisbergen to the inside, turn 7. Cleanly makes the pass. McDowell trying some sort of an over-under move, but really that was just letting the 88 go. He had no chance to hold on to the lead for a lengthy period of time. Surprised he was able to hold on for about a half a lap that he did. But Van Gisbergen was patient enough, and he made the pass in the very next legitimate passing corner on the racetrack at turn 7 for his time to strike. So Van Gisbergen's got 2.3 seconds over 3rd place Chase Briscoe, who will be putting the battle for 2nd shortly. TNT goes to another side-by-side commercial break. So now we'll go through the full field running orders since everybody is good on fuel to the end. Again, alternating strategy for 3 of the drivers in the top 10, which would be McDowell, Suarez, and Haley. They're good on fuel, but much older tires because of pitting during the last caution. So 20 laps to go. Shane Van Gisbergen's out in front. Michael McDowell holding on for dear life in 2nd right now. Then Chase Briscoe 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Solid day for Austin Cindric. Very quiet one at that. He's in 6th. Daniel Suarez in 7th. William Byron 8th. Christopher Bell 9th. And 10th is Brad Keselowski. 11th, Ty Gibbs. Ryan Preece 12th. Ross Chastain 13th. Kyle Larson 14th. And Alex Bowman is 15th. 16th for Noah Gragson. Tyler Reddick 17th. Zane Smith 18th. AJ Allmendinger 19th. Cole Custer in 20th. 21st, Joey Logano. Austin Dillon 22nd. Carson Hocevar 23rd. Kyle Busch 24th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 25th, and John Nemechek 26th, Riley Herbst 27th, Bubba Wallace 28th, Catherine Legg 29th, and Ty Dillon in 30th. 31st, Todd Gilliland, Justin Haley 32nd, Cody Ware 33rd, Josh Berry 34th, Eric Jones 35th, Denny Hamlin 36th is the last car in the lead lap, Ryan Blaney 2 laps down in 37th. After being involved in the only incident of the race, but all 37 cars that started are still in. 10 lead changes now after most recent one, SVG passing Michael McDowell on the track. Briscoe trails McDowell, looking to get by him shortly for 2nd. 3 cautions, 1 for incident in stage 3, and then the 2 stage yellows at lap 25 and 55. just over 2 hours and 15 minutes into the race so far. And we shall see how this is going to shape up. SVG obviously the man to beat here down the home stretch. If we catch a caution, I'm sure there's going to be quite a bit of pit strategy. We're probably going to see the field split between who pits and who doesn't. That would come into play, but if it stays green to the end, it's looking like SVG's race to lose yet again. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Cup Series at Sonoma. Christopher McComas, thanks for tuning in. As well as many others who have been watching throughout the course of today's live commentary stream. 80 likes right now. Let's see if we can get that to 100 before the end. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. 18 laps to go this time by. Chase Elliott looking to pounce for third place on Michael McDowell out of turn 11.
Go. Let's do our credit one bank. One's the one.
We're lagging.
I'm going to go ahead and say, you can't take Shane Van Gisbergen. Let's pick others, okay?
Yeah, actually, the one I'm watching is this 9-car Chase Elliott, Mr. Consistency in 2025, trying to take away this spot here from McDowell, moving himself into third place. In the last 3 races here, 8th, 5th, and 4th. We know he's a great road course racer and has done a great job today to drive this car up into the top 3.
Well, I'll take Mr. Consistent. Top 5s in the last 3 races here. That's what Chris Buescher in 17 has done. And I just remind everybody that Chris Buescher was the last guy to beat SVG. He did it heads up, basically at Watkins Glen. So the NASCAR guy, I say last guy, right? He accomplished the feat that everybody's dreaming about today. So Chris Buescher, I still have one for watch. Still, we get a caution. And sometimes make put on tires. This thing is far from a guarantee.
I'm going to go up to Chase Briscoe. Qualified on the front row yesterday. Been very impressive in the 19. And here's someone that's been wonderful on pole day in Chase Briscoe. But he hasn't always been able to complete the task in the race. And this weekend you wondered because this has not been one of his great tracks. But we've said it. Martin Truex Jr. was so good here with that race team. What could Briscoe do? We have found out. Prior to today, he had never run a lap inside the top 5 at Sonoma. His average running position today, 3rd. Credit to the 19 team. And, well, I'm like you. You get a caution, it changes everything. If someone would have a little shot.
There are a few guys through the field, as crazy as it may sound, who absolutely have to have wins. You get to say 12 to go or 10 to go. I would call my car on the pit road. Now, you're going to give up 15 or 18 spots if it runs green. But you pit and frustration pull over and somebody spins off the racetrack and you get that instant yellow. That's the type of, now that's a long shot, Hail Mary type gamble. But getting ready for the season where for a bunch of drivers, that's the pathway to playoffs is a win.
You've seen some crazy things happen late in races on the road. So getting out of bounds, doing something different might pay off. SVG in charge and just flexing the muscles every lap, Marty.
Still 17 to go, Adam, but yes, SVG staring at a record held by Jeff Gordon. No driver has won 3 straight road course races from the pole since Jeff Gordon in 1998 and 1999. So it's been 26 years since we've seen this level of dominance at road course racing. So that's the question. Is Shane Van Gisbergen the best road course racer we've ever seen in NASCAR? Would love your take on that because clearly he is the one to beat right now. Let's count the world versus SVG when it comes to road course racing in the Cup Series.
I think he's writing that history now. It's still, still to be determined. But if he continues to have this type of success over the next several years, he's absolutely got an opportunity to stake claim as the best road course racer ever in NASCAR history. Dave Gurney, there's a long list of names of other road course greats that have been part of NASCAR, but I think this 88 car is still writing that story as we speak.
You talk about how amazing it is that SVG's doing what he does, leading the race. I think it's just worth reminding everybody, the driver of this 51, Cody Waredale, how that race finished. This him breathtaking.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Wow.
Try to do whatever you could to slow the car down with that contact on the outside wall, but
it does little to really take away how terrible this impact was. You see the damage the steering wheel takes, and everything in that car, he said, was throwaway by the time it was said and done. The HOD device, the helmet, it ruined all the fold in the helmet, so the helmet's no longer able to do what he needs to do in the next impact. And so even the seat was damaged from that crash, Danielle.
Yeah, Dale, there was nothing that they could salvage from the car. They said they'll put it back together and make it a show car. And Cody Ware is a big guy. He's the tallest guy on pit road at 6'4", over 250 pounds. And that's why the sheer force, the energy as he hit those tire barriers, his body weight and the inertia crushed that steering wheel. Luckily,
Lovedown came off of the 51.
Out on Monday and Tuesday. I asked his crew chief, Billy Ford.
Just talking about Cody Ware, his right rear lug nut just came off the race car, and the tire rolling is going to bring out a caution with 15 laps to go. Oh my goodness.
Four, I believe.
Fourth caution of the day. Second a problem on track.
Keep coming to pit road.
They were just talking.
We're gonna have bruises because that car went up and the car wiggled and something shot. We were punching each other in the arm trying to figure out what came off.
Yeah, no, it was the lug nut.
We saw it wiggling right there into turn 3, and the wheel nut goes away.
Yeah, we could highlight it.
Yeah, as the wheel's trying to leave the vehicle.
So he's just on pit road at 92. This is 4 laps later. At the bottom of that hill, if you go back to that replay, I think we could show you the wheel nut. See if we get lucky at freezing it. And then this tire, a near miss of a car that came through the screen. I don't know who that was, but that would have been crazy if you hit the tire.
And so this is an opportunity for guys like McDowell. So he's going to probably come to pit road, put tires on. And how many can he draw the pit road?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, let's see here. We'll go a little bit right. It's going right there. We freeze it right there. See if I can find my pen. Oh, I got this. This is my chance to not mess this up. The zoom. There's the wheel nut right there. Can you believe that? We caught it live, bouncing. Off it goes. Just 3 laps after pit road. He was on 92. He's a lap down. So 3 laps later, 51 will come to pit road.
I give you a B on telestrator execution.
Man, I wish you were one of my teachers in school. I could have used some B's. I could have used some B's on the old GPA. So back to your point, Dale. I think that's McDowell's thing, right? He knows these old tires aren't going to work. But 15 laps is a lot. It means the tires lose grip quick. So let's take a look at the previous pit stop, the 51. See if we see anything obvious on the right side. Remember, you got to tighten it with the car in the air. Right rear going on slow. He waits. Oh, but he's still there working, waving. They go back.
Oh, man. Oh, that Jackman came around to fix it.
Why didn't they just...
Should have stayed there a few more seconds.
Oh.
They were already over there.
Home fields. 14 to go. This is just really, really interesting.
I'm going to tell you, and remember we talked at pre-race about a target? I'm going to do whatever SVG does, I'm doing the opposite. He stays out, I'm coming. If I am Chase Briscoe, I am absolutely not following him down pit road, and I'm not following him by staying on the racetrack.
But you remember the conversation we had with Cliff Daniels in the garage this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, you just stay out. You keep your track position. That's what you do at this stage on a road course. But this tire has introduced a whole new thought process.
Oh, if SPG fits and Briscoe stays out, he's going to need a cushion behind him.
Yeah.
There's other people to buy into this idea.
Green lights open, bottom right of your screen. So this is the choice. What do you do? Last minute, look at Briscoe.
Wow.
I love it. Briscoe, pit.
No. Oh.
There's even a fit with it.
McDowell, Brad Keselowski, Ty Gibbs, a whole bunch of drivers coming down. I will say, there's going to be some insurance. You're going to get a restart, say 12 laps to go. But tires mean so much. Here's Chase Elliott, Danielle.
Chase Elliott, so good at managing his tires. I asked Alan Gupson this morning if there's a late caution, what do you think Chase will want? He said he won't scream that he wants tires, but he will tell me forcefully that he wants them. And I like my driver in these situations because he goes on the offensive.
This is going to be fun, Danielle. Some fresh tires back in the field. Michael McDowell comes down pit road. Travis Peterson didn't check up at all.
Oh, we got a fire.
McDowell leaves. That fire will hopefully be put out on pit road. But yeah, some fresh tires coming. There was no question, though, for Shane Van Gisbergen and his team. They were going to stay out. Shane said, I think we have to stay out here.
Quite a few cars that stayed on the racetrack. More than I expected, especially from the back of the field. Take a look at the spiral pit road.
This is scary stuff. I'm with you, Dale. 13 cars stayed out. I had single digits. I thought we could have got some more to maybe went with that strategy.
Yeah, but Hocevar, Stenhouse, Barry, Jones, Gregson, Haley, all those guys staying on the racetrack is the insurance that I think Shane needs to know that those new tires are running down. The other side of that equation or question is Chase Elliott Gibbs, how far up into the top 10 or even into the top 5 can they grow? Can they drive their cars? McDowell, this really just turned really well for him in terms of his strategy to restart 16th with opportunity of tire advantage on a lot of cars up there in the top 10.
The only thing that's giving me a little angst if I have tires is how many laps do I get, right? I could have an instant yellow stuff. But listen, I stick with my decision before. I would have come down pit road. I don't want to wait and see what the answer is, right? I would have done it even if it doesn't work out. I would have tried to put tires on it. We'll see if the things, and look at the playoff bubble. I mean, SVG has led so much that it hasn't, we don't think about a new winner, but now, what if one of these late pit decisions is the answer? Fresh tires is an obvious advantage.
See Bubba Wallace right there, +5 to Priest. Priest was.
So we're going to have about 11 laps to go on the restart. And it looks like the top 12 cars stayed out of the pits. Chase Elliott in 13th will be the first of which on 4 fresh tires that just came to pit road under this caution, which is only the 4th of the day. Second for incident, and again, it was the right rear tire of Cody Ware coming off following a green flag stop that he made about 4 laps beforehand. Surprised it took 4 laps for the tire to finally come loose. But how quick is Elliott, Gibbs, McDowell, Keselowski, and everybody else on offense on the fresh tires going to be able to try to drive their way to the front? Not enough passing spots? Well, they're going to make some. I can tell you that much. Why are they not restarting now? Because they just left pit road. They should be restarting with 11 laps left. They pitted with 13 to go, so by the time they cycled off of pit road, the back of the field had to get caught up with the lead pack before the field got 1 to go the following time by at the line. Got to give the teams enough time that pitted to catch back up. Everybody else. Why is Blaney still lapped down? Because he was 2 laps down and he just got the free pass, so now he's only 1 lap down. He only got 1 lap back out of the 2. So about 15 laps difference on tires for those that hit pit road, or a few laps give or take between them depending on when exactly the green flag stops were made by specific drivers in the field. Briscoe was able to hold nose to nose with SVG. Not on the last restart, but the restart before that for about the first 3 to 4 turns before SVG pulled clear. Is there any way that he can get in front of this 88 car? Best thing for Van Gisbergen, he needs to have the best restart he's had all day, not waste any time, and try to grow this gap out before those drivers on 4 fresh tires are able to cut through the field. 11 laps on a 1.99 mile road course is quite a bit of time. And again, he's got about 12 buffer cars behind him. Back to Ty Gibbs and Chase Elliott, who will be the first of those on 4 fresh Goodyears. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell also on 4 fresh tires just behind the 54 and the 9. In the middle of the pack. Green flag is in the air. Great launch in the restart zone for SVG. Not so great for Chase Briscoe. in the 19. He's probably going to have to fall in line behind the 88 car into turn 2, but he chooses to try to race side by side with him, and that might cost him second place. Chris Buescher, though, slides the rear tires up out of turn 2, so Briscoe gets bailed out. He's able to get back to the bottom. And Buescher slams the door shut on Christopher Bell for third. It's going to bottleneck everybody up into turn 3 on that inside lane, but it seems as if everybody's still going in the correct direction so far. Chase Elliott's already picked up 2 positions, sliding sideways, just trying to get his car to turn to the inside of everybody else around him. Now he's stuck 3 wide middle. And around goes Noah Gragson in the middle of the pack. Others going to pile into him. Cars are everywhere as they try to evade the 4. Scattered across the racetrack. Gregson's pulled to a complete stop. I don't think he's going to be able to get rolling again, and the caution's out. As a result of which I don't know exactly who hit him. Now that's going to buy Shane Van Gisbergen a little bit of extra time, because that's less green flag laps for those that just pitted to try to cut their way back through the field. And because of that stack up with Gregson going for a spin, was right in front of everybody that just pitted, they kind of slowed up enough to where they really didn't get any positions in those first 5 to 6 turns. Window net is down on the 4. Looks like he's going to stay in the car to get back into the pits. Unless he hops out. I would assume he's going to hop out. I mean, they're not going to be able to get the car fixed and get it back on the track before the race is over. We only have 10 laps to go.
Back to green flag racing as soon as possible.
Looking at our top 10, Justin Haley, not someone we've talked a lot about today.
That's the car that made the contact right there. That orange car, Reese.
This is going into 4 down the hill. Look at this stacked up. I saw somebody get sideways. Oh, the 7 and the 9.
Yeah, the 9 gets sideways, loses all the momentum. Now he's in the middle of 3 wide. He can't do anything to gain any spots. Here's where the 4 gets turned around. He gets contact right there for Priest.
Oh, yeah. There's
Just sideswiped.
Gregson.
It's tough for Priest, who spent so much time inside the top 10 today.
And no on the inside of the 21. It's a lot of contact. Josh
Oh,
Priest
Larson.
43.
Larson got quite a bit of damage on the back of the 43, too.
History, I think, last week.
They
Josh
did.
Berry in the 43.
They did.
Which is interesting there.
I was wondering if the Chicago memories were going to come flooding back here with a few laps to go, and I wonder if that was one.
I know Bubba Wallace right here. It's Chase Elliott. It's Ty Gibbs right here. Yes. Pretty significant contact for Priest, and he doesn't need. Look at his damage. To
Wow.
the forward. This is Priest right here. It's pretty hard contact on that right front corner, without a doubt. And I think he's, hopeful that he doesn't have any real damage to the suspension. Can't afford to give up too many spots right now. I sit +2 behind Bubba Wallace at the cut line.
10 to go.
Pit road is open, but no takers this time around. Cars that had any sort of damage following this incident were Noah Gregson, Kyle Larson, Josh Berry, Bubba Wallace, Eric Jones, and Brian Priest. Only significant damage to be knocked out of the race following this crash was Gregson. Larson and Jones, though, Jones basically got rear-ended by the 5 of Larson after missing the 4, who was spinning, obviously, in front of most of the field. Gregson restarted just inside the top 10 of those that stayed out of the pits. The right front fender sticking out on the 60. I wonder if NASCAR is going to bring that car to pit road, because if that piece of debris falls off, it's just going to cause another caution. And it's holding on for dear life. So Elliott was able to pick up 2 spots to 11th. And the 2 spots he gained were basically the 4, who obviously went for the spin. He got 2 spots out of turn 4, but then he ended up giving them up when he was 3 wide middle. One of those spots at least. Ryan Blaney's back on the lead lap with the free pass, so he's going to come onto pit road, take 4 fresh tires. Be at the tail end of the field anyway, but a chance to pick up some positions. Following a spin after battling for third with Chris Buescher early in the going. Not really early in the going, it was more early in stage 3, second half of the race. I would assume we're going to have 7 or 8 laps to go in the restart. Probably closer to 7 with the cleanup still taking place in the turn 7 area of the racetrack where the crash had happened. Priest came into the day minus 2 points below the cutoff line. And that's with him running in 18th right now. He's minus 5 to Bubba Wallace. It's why he's staying out on the racetrack and hoping that he can at least maintain the position he's running in and keep from losing maybe a dozen more points. 1 point per position. Only 6 races to go in the regular season following today's event. And again, this is a lot less time for these drivers on fresh tires to get to the front of the field. We restarted with 11 laps to go initially, so being at 9 laps to go right now, it's already 2 less laps. And we're probably going to have at least 2 more laps of yellow before we go back green. I would assume 7 to go is when we'll go green. So they would probably get 1 to go this time. And that's with very, very quick cleanup. They may end up having to add an extra lap, and we might be looking at more at 6 to go for a restart instead. As far as drivers who are in any sort of a position to make it into the playoffs with a win, because they don't have one this year, the highest in the running order without a win is Chris Buescher in 3rd. Outside of Buescher, Hocevar is 6th, Zane Smith 7th, Stenhouse Jr. in 9th, and Justin Haley 10th. For those in the top 10, obviously Ty Gibbs with a win could get in. He's one of the drivers on offense with the 4 fresh tires, but really didn't pick up any spots there. He's a couple rows behind Chase Elliott, who's the highest running of those that did pit during the second to last yellow.
All about getting through this restart.
Adam Stevens, crew chief for Christopher Bell.
Hoping you're not on the wrong end of it when the bumper tag starts, but done a good job today. Drove a good race. Had that issue spinning there early, but recovered from it. So happy to be in the position we're in, and we'll see what the future holds.
You have newer tires behind you. How worried are you about those?
They're pretty far back at this point. I just don't think there's enough laps to get there, but you never know.
Christopher Bell, heck of a day up in the top 5, trying to stay there.
Yeah, he's been really the model of consistency when you talk about delivering on the road courses. They've had some bumps along the way, but he's done his fair share of putting it up in the top 5. One earlier this season at Circuit of the Americas. Talk about road racing.
Yeah, so they will be going green this time. So 7 laps to go. And it will be Van Gisbergen and Briscoe on the front row again, which really we've seen these two on the front row for a restart all but once today. I believe the beginning of stage 2 was the only time they weren't both on the front row. So Briscoe's done a good job. Even after bleeding a couple spots on that first stage of the race, that he was able to get quite a few of them back before the finish. Well, here we go. We're going to rack them and stack them again. Obviously, SVG will have the inside lane for turn 2, turn 4, turn 7 specifically, by taking what would technically be the outside for turn 1. But you're not really lifting in that corner of the racetrack anyway, so. The setup is for turn 2 to be on the inside. Chris Buescher going to be on the inside of row 2, then Christopher Bell outside of row 2, Byron inside of row 3, Chase Elliott, highest running in the current running order will be inside of row 6 for the race start. Pandemonium probably is not done yet for what will ensue on this next restart. Could be the final one of the day. We shall see. Green flag is in the air. SVG, Chase Briscoe launch on the front row. And again, SVG has the 19 beat. The 19 just can't seem to fire off as well as the 88. Briscoe still going to try to challenge on the outside, though, into turn 2. He's hanging on for a little bit. He's not necessarily nose-to-nose with the 88 car, but he is still alongside of him. And Van Gisbergen finally going to break clear out of turn 3. Excuse me. Bell was able to get by Chris Buescher for 3rd. Hocevar by Byron for 5th, but Byron going to attack back on the inside of the 77 down into turn 7. Chase Elliott into the back of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky goes a bit wide, bounces off the curb, and that's going to stack up a huge line of cars behind him downhill into the S's. And Stenhouse gets turned in the aftermath of it as he slides hard into the tire wall. Driver's side first. It doesn't really look like the car's damaged much. But with the barrier coming apart, that's going to bring out yet another caution flag in the late going of this race. Chase Elliott got a couple more spots, but he's still going to be at least around row 4 or 5. And that's even less green flag laps now to try to cut to the front of the field. Chase has scored an 8th. And we'll do it all over again.
And turn 7. Ended up getting himself turned around. Coming into the S, I wonder if he was having other troubles aside from just having the tire deficit. Looked like that car wasn't really trying to accelerating or getting through the gears for some reason. Take a look at some replays here. So there you see Ricky Stenhouse. He is on the inside edge there, going backwards through this mixed 3 wide. And he just gets a little pop right there off the left front fender of the 54 car, Ty Gibbs. You got to go. I mean, I don't really fault anybody right there because you've got to go in these scenarios.
Take no prisoners. It's the attitude of these guys on late race restarts.
So there you see Ricky Stenhouse. He is on the inside edge there, going backwards through this mixed 3 wide. And he just gets a little pop right there off the left front fender of the 54 car, Ty Gibbs. And you got to go. I mean, I don't really fault anybody right there because you've got to go in these scenarios.
Yeah, Ty kind of hits the curb and he's sliding left. And look, it's tough enough to go down their single file. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tires do their job. Jersey barrier hold in, but now the repair is going to have to happen.
So many times early in the race, you get to this portion of the track, you just let it settle out. This lane, everybody going to take all they can.
They are. And if you're here, you got to pull that all over. Yeah, Ty Gibbs, makes the contact and spins the 47 around. But your thought process is if you lift and let him have that, somebody's running over you.
That could be you.
Yeah, so somebody's going to put you in the tires in the next turn. That's why it gets so ugly late in these races at the road courses.
Some hard hits, too. AMR safety team, they're quickly and trying to put the pieces back together.
They did a pretty good job, actually, to get it to this point. And we haven't seen that red flag. Cars are down the hill, coming to the choose now in turn 9. But not getting to choose this lap, but coming to that area of the racetrack.
Yeah, going to be 5 to go this time around, so it'll be a really short run to the finish.
It's like the 47 steering issue is a tooth of He's got his car going around the racetrack. They mentioned on the radio, yeah, he's different. Shoes.
Updating those drivers on the fresher tires. Chase Elliott is 8th. Michael McDowell is 10th. And then you think about in-season challenge. 25th, 26th, Ty Dillon. Alex
Oh, no.
I mean, this in-season challenge.
Ty Dillon again.
It's really crazy. And Ty Dillon is the one that has just been the Dragon Slayer, right? I mean, he gets Hamlin, he gets Keselowski, and Bowman's someone that we know is so capable on the road courses. But here is Dillon in position again to pull the upset and advance to the Final Four.
With a 32 seed. Last seed in, the top 32 made it.
No way.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hope they have a split screen camera on Ty Dillon and Alex Bowman on the restart just to see if Ty Dillon pulls off another upset in this in-season tournament again. Hamlin 1 week, Keselowski the next, and now he's trying to take out Alex Bowman. He was the last seed coming in and a chance to make it to the Final Four. He's one position off. Also one position between one another in the in-season tournament are the teammates of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. Nemechek quite a bit more damage, but holds on in 21st. Jones right behind him in 22nd. Zane Smith and Ty Gibbs battle as of right now has Zane Smith ahead in 7th. He was of those that stayed out of the pits. Gibbs on 4 fresh tires in 12th. So that'll probably be another really good battle. At least 3 tight battles on the in-season tournament side of things. And then the only other one outside of that would be the Tyler Reddick and Ryan Preece battle. Reddick is currently in 11th, Preece in 18th, but with damage for when we get to the next restart. If they get 1 to go this time, we'll have 4 laps to go on the next restart. Cautions breed cautions. We've had 3 of them since 15 laps to go, which was when Cody Ware's right rear tire came up off of his car, causing the first of this slew of yellows. And they will be going green this time, so we'll have 4 laps to go. Chase Elliott is going to be on the inside of row 4. Again, he's the highest running of those on 4 fresh tires, so he's in 7th. He's going to have 6 cars in front of him on older tires, about 15 laps worth. 4 laps around a 1.99 mile road course. Elliott's got a quick car. He was in 3rd before the pit stop started during that Cody Ware caution with about 15 laps to go. Pace car pulls off to the right. Field into turn 12. SVG has done a great job in the restart zone on Briscoe the last 2 times. Gets a push from behind by Christopher Bell, then goes, and that might have spun the rear tires for the 88 of Van Gisbergen, because now Chase Briscoe is a lot tighter nose-to-nose with him through turn 2 this time than he had been the last couple restarts. Christopher Bell gets log jammed on the inside. Carson Hocevar may have gotten into him, and Hocevar's on the inside for 3rd as SVG wins the battle for the lead. Out in front of Chase Briscoe into turn 3 and 3A. Hocevar still has not been able to clear for 3rd, though, over Christopher Bell. He's been underneath him for a couple of corners. Bell wins the battle for 3rd for the time being. Chase Elliott up to 5th. Kyle Larson goes out around turn 4. He clips Ryan Blaney in the 12, who's in the wrong place at the wrong time again. A lot of damage on the back of the 5 and the 12 for that matter. We do stay green. I don't think there's any debris on the racetrack. Toe link is broken on Blaney's car. He tries to nurse it back into the pits. Chase Elliott's up to 4th. Turn 7, he must have made another pass on Hocevar. So Elliott's got 3 positions in front of him with almost 3 entire laps to try to get back to the lead. Looked like Nemechek got into the back of the 5 of Larson, and then Larson was backing into the racing line from his spin. Car obviously not under control by that point, and that's when Ryan Blaney came through and clipped him. We stay green, so again, there must not be any debris on the racetrack following that hit. Hocevar under duress from Tyler Reddick, who has fresh tires. Oh, Josh Berry into Carson Hocevar, and Hocevar goes around in turn 2. He's going to be able to keep the car rolling, but he's at the tail end of the field now. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Barry looked like he might have just overcooked the corner a bit. Not overcooking the corner, but making a pass in turn 4 was Chase Elliott over Christopher Bell. So now Elliott's up to third. Just less than 2 seconds off the race lead with 2.5 laps to go. Elliott's got to get by Briscoe for second, and then our race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG has led 92 of 108 laps so far today. 2 laps to go at the line. Another car off track in turn 10. Couldn't tell who it was. It was further back off camera. Right now, the main camera is on this 9 car of Chase Elliott, who's in hot pursuit of those in front of him. He didn't gain a lot of time through the turn 11, 12, and 1 section of the racetrack. Big slide out of turn 2, and he's going to lose a lot of ground. I think Briscoe undercut the curbing in turn 2. Chase Elliott ended up in the marbles in that racing line where we saw a couple of guys spin out in that similar instance earlier. Elliott hangs onto his race car, but lost a spot to Bell. Bell's now back in front of him. That's going to buy Briscoe and SVG a little bit more time. Elliott gets back by Bell in turn 7, but now he's 2.9 seconds off the lead and only a lap and a half to get there, and he's out of time, really, unless we catch another caution before we get to the white. Briscoe's deficit to Van Gisbergen is about 1.4 seconds. Ty Dillon's still within 1 position of Alex Bowman for the in-season tournament battle. And I would not be shocked if he dumps Bowman for it. That might be the closest battle on the final lap of the race. Because SVG is checking out with the white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Ty Gibbs going to get by William Byron in the 24. That pass was for 7th. Gibbs is the 2nd highest in the running order, 3rd highest, I should say, of those that pitted for fresh tires. Michael McDowell up to 4th place. He just passed Christopher Bell in, I think, turn 11, the last lap. McDowell a little over a second off of Elliott. Elliott might have a shot at 2nd place Chase Briscoe in the closing corners here. Reddick battles for 5th with the 20 of Christopher Bell. Not going to be able to get that spot. Bell closes the door into the Esses. Elliott too far back to catch Chase Briscoe as they head for pay dirt. Turn 11 and 12 is all remaining for Shane Van Gisbergen. Domination here today for SVG. 19 stage points, 60 points total on the race. His 3rd win in 5 weeks. All on the road course races through the summer. SVG wins again. A little contact crossing the line between Reddick and Gibbs as they were going at it for 6. Great save by Reddick as he holds on for that spot. Margin of victory for SVG, about 0.7 of a second over Chase Briscoe. And again, a race win for the 3rd time in 5 weeks for the 88 team. He's now tied for the most wins this year with Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Christopher Bell. 6 playoff points. And actually, it does look like it's going to be a 59-point day for him because Chase Briscoe... Oh, he did not have the fastest lap. I'm trying to see who had the fastest lap of the race. Oh, Ty Dillon moved Alex Bowman on the last lap for the in-season tournament. Oh, man. We needed a simultaneous cam on that battle. How did we not get that live? SVG had the race won. We should have seen that battle. Ty Dillon moves Alex Bowman in turn 11. I knew he would do something like that to try to get the spot. It's going to cost Bowman some points, too. Lost a couple positions out of it. It's on the inside of the cutoff line. But, yeah, Ty Dillon moves on again in the in-season tournament for the third consecutive week with a 25th place run. I don't even think Ty Dillon's had a top 20 in the 3 races he's advanced, but he's still making it. I will say he outraced the 48 today up until the final corner. Then he used the chrome horn, but Bowman didn't have a good day. Tyler Reddick beats out Ryan Preece. Zane Smith fell back, I believe, on that final restart. No, wait, hang on. I don't think our order is correct. Yeah, our order is not correct. Carson Hocevar went for a spin on the last restart. Our timing and scoring here on screen did not update from that last restart with 4 laps to go. Everything still stayed the same there, so I'm going to try to refresh the page and see anything is updated. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so Ty Gibbs beats Zane Smith. Tyler Reddick beats Ryan Preece. Ty Dillon beats Alex Bowman. And then the last spot, I'm trying to remember back who would have been the final matchup. Oh, yeah, Jones and Nemechek for Legacy. Who got it? Nemechek by 1 spot, 28th, 29th for Jones. So Ty Gibbs, John Hunter Nemechek, Tyler Reddick, and Ty Dillon will be the final 4 for the in-season tournament. SVG just climbed out of his car after his 3rd win in 5 races. He's gonna have the rugby punt into the stands. Somebody getting a souvenir out there. I think it might have landed in the pit box of the 43. He had a long distance to try to get it to the crowd from where he was at, but fan will end up getting that at some point. And here's your race winner on the front stretch at Sonoma.
Great races over the last few weeks. How's the heart rate there on all those final cautions and restarts, Shane?
Yeah, it was pretty tough stuff. We had an amazing car, but yeah, Chase Briscoe, what a great racer, and gave me respect and jumped the last one a little bit, but it was pretty tense, but amazing. So stoked for Red Bull, Trackhouse, Chevy. Unbelievable. I had a really fun weekend here, some great races, and hope everyone enjoyed that.
How hard is it to believe 5 weeks ago this race team didn't have a win, Shane? As it sits now, you're the number 3 seed in the playoffs.
Hard to believe that, isn't it? But I just have to thank these guys. You know, we've built up all year, got better and better, and now we need to keep getting better on the ovals and start proving some people wrong.
Shane, you've won championships, 81 supercar wins over your career. You've done everything you could down there. How do you put into words what the last 2 years have meant to you?
Oh, it means everything. That's why I race cars. You know, I had an amazing time in Australia, and then to come here and yeah, the last couple of weeks or years actually has been dream come true. I've really enjoyed my time in NASCAR. Thanks everyone for making me feel so welcome, and yeah, hope I'm here for a long time to come.
Yeah, you can hear a little bit of emotion there as he celebrates their 3rd win in 5 weeks. SVG is unstoppable on street and road courses, Adam, and he proves it once again today.
It's one thing to be that good. It's another thing to live up to the expectations.
All right, we'll go through the finishing results of this race here today. Shane Van Gisbergen with a 1.1 second margin of victory. I said 7/10, but our raw feed was a little bit behind after refreshing the page. 1.1 second margin of victory again for him. 97 out of 110 laps led. A stage win as well for SVG today. Chase Briscoe finishes in 2nd. Chase Elliott got back to 3rd on the final couple of laps. Michael McDowell snuck in with a top 5 in 4th. Christopher Bell 5th. Tyler Reddick in 6th. Ty Gibbs 7th. William Byron 8th. Joey Logano 9th. Kyle Busch We'll round out the top 10. 11th for Brad Keselowski, Ryan Preece 12th, Josh Berry 13th, Daniel Suarez 14th, 15th was Justin Haley, 16th was Chris Buescher, 17th for Ty Dillon. As our leaderboard must have okay, I guess 25th wasn't where Ty Dillon finished. He finished 17th, but he still beat Alex Bowman for the in-season tournament. That didn't change. AJ Allmendinger 18th, Alex Bowman 19th, Denny Hamlin 20th, 21st for Austin Dillon, Todd Gilliland 22nd, Cole Custer 23rd, 24th for Ross Chastain, 25th was Riley Herbst, Bubba Wallace 26th, Zane Smith 27th, John Hunter Nemechek 28th, Eric Jones 29th, Austin Cindric 30th, Catherine Legg 31st, Carson Hocevar 32nd, was in 5th but had that spin on that final restart. And my page keeps getting redirected. So I'm going to have to turn to my phone now to try to get the rest of the finishing results for you. I'm just going to go back through it all because visually you guys haven't been able to see much of the finishing results. So I'll just go back through the whole thing again. Sometimes NASCAR.com does this where immediately after the race was over, they want to redirect me to a different page, and that page isn't available. So again, SVG with the win, 97 of 110 laps led. Chase Briscoe finishes second, Chase Elliott third, Michael McDowell fourth, Christopher Bell fifth, sixth, Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs seventh, William Byron eighth, Joey Logano ninth, Kyle Busch 10th, and Brad Keselowski 11th, Ryan Preece 12th, Josh Berry 13th, Daniel Suarez 14th, Justin Haley 15th, and Haley actually had the fastest lap of the race. Must have been in the final restart or something. But he did get credited with the fastest lap bonus point award. Chris Buescher in 16th, Ty Dillon 17th, AJ Allmendinger 18th, Alex Bowman 19th, Denny Hamlin 20th, Austin Dillon 21st, Todd Gilliland 22nd, Cole Custer 23rd, Ross Chastain 24th, Riley Herbst 25th, Bubba Wallace 26th, 27th for Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek 28th, Eric Jones 29th, Austin Cindric 30th, Catherine Legg 31st, Carson Hocevar 32nd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 33rd, Cody Ware 34th, Kyle Larson 35th, Ryan Blaney 36th, and Noah Gragson 37th. The only two cars in the DNF today were Ryan Blaney and Noah Gragson. So that is the finishing results. Now, that's me. Gonna have to try to find a way to a different page. Right, I'm on the results page. And that is not the race results. That is Chicago's race results, not Sonoma. We'll just highlight the Fantasy League now while we're at it. I don't know what's going on with NASCAR.com. And we'll take a look at where everybody finished in our Fantasy League, the KRC League on NASCAR.com and or the NASCAR mobile app. Got 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season if you win our regular season and or playoff championship. And coming into this week, we'll take a look at our standings. Oh, that's not the right standings. Hang on. That's the fumble in the bag here. League. Was panicking. Monster Jam X10 came in with 3,632 points. 30-point lead over Evan, 48-48. I was in third coming into the week. Inside Uranus fourth. Hercules Harrigan fifth. Was the top 5. And again, only 6 races to go in the regular season exiting today. And for this week, our winner at Sonoma was P-Shat Motorsports and CRN Corona. So a tie for the win this weekend in Sonoma. 231 points for both of those winners. Co-champions, if you will, for Sonoma Raceway in the KRC League. Inside Uranus finishes in third with 223 points. Troy the Great, 216 in fourth. And a tie for fifth amongst 4 people. Carm 60, myself, Monster Jam X10, and Oof. I like that name. That's what a lot of drivers were probably feeling today on those late race restarts. A lot of bottlenecking, a couple of spins going on. Typical, recent year road course stuff when it comes to NASCAR. on late race restarts on these style of racetracks. But pandemonium down the stretch. What wasn't pandemonium was the dominance that Shane Van Gisbergen put on full display today. I'm honestly not in bad shape for this week. I'll take a top 5 for the fantasy league, even though the points leader outscored me. I had a good team. Ross Chastain kind of fell out late. I don't know what happened to him. Probably one of many things that happened on that final race start. Byron had a solid day with a top 10. Same for Ty Gibbs. SVG obviously won, scored the most points. And Chris Buescher got a top 10 finish out of the day. So only Chastain was the only one that didn't get a top 10. But not a bad day. Did win a stage. Head-to-head points was pretty solid. I'll take 3 for 4. That's 30. 10 points each. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I don't know what else we really have to cover in the post-race. I do have to catch up with the interviews. I guess I can go over the point standings. I haven't done that yet. They did show the graphic on screen. I don't think I'm going to be able to rewind it enough. I can't. Because at the bottom of the hour, the NASCAR programming was technically supposed to end. They showed the points up on screen once, and I tried to pause the broadcast so I could see that, but I didn't catch it. Chase Briscoe, who finished in second today, is with the TNT crew, so here's an interview with him.
Opportunity that Chase had with multiple shots at that restart. I can't wait to hear from him and see what he thought.
Let's hear from him, because there he is right there. And he's listening to what you guys are saying, and he's like, hey, let me weigh in on what that was really like. Take us through that last one, Chase, because that was the one that I think was the closest for you to maybe make that move.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the really only opportunity I had was on the restarts. I obviously never played basketball against Michael Jordan in his prime, but I feel like that's what it was probably like. Yeah, that guy's just unbelievable on road courses. He's just so good. He's really raised the bar in this entire series. So, yeah, proud of the effort. I thought there was one restart I was maybe going to get clear of him, but I mean, truthfully, even if I cleared him, he was probably going to pass me back by the end of the lap. But yeah, proud of the effort. We were, second place car all day, and obviously ended up second with it. So, yeah, just man, I honestly I don't know what more I need. I feel like my car is extremely good, and I feel like every time I would kind of run down Shane, he would just pick up the pace himself and start driving back away. So yeah, it was I don't know, frustrating at times, but I was honestly happy with the effort. This is by far my worst racetrack, so kind of surprised myself, truthfully.
Yeah, Parker and I thought as you had multiple shots at that you might be able to get by him on one of the restarts. One of the stories of the day was just kind of managing tires. We saw some guys go well at the beginning of a run and then fade a lot. What was kind of your plan today? Were you aggressive at the beginning, or did you try to take it easy so you had something at the end?
Yeah, I definitely would just try to kind of maintain the initial start of the race. I didn't do a very good job of kind of maintaining. I fell back, I think, to fourth. It just cost myself too much time trying to save tires. But yeah, I thought other than that, I did a really good job of just trying to stay disciplined and manage my stuff. And I felt like it paid off. I was typically the second best car. I just never had anything for Shane, and I felt like he still had more left in the tank as well. But yeah, it was fun. We were slipping and sliding around all over the place. It's fun when you can do that in these types of race cars. So yeah, it was a really just fun day, honestly, behind the wheel.
Man, yesterday after you qualified second, you were right behind SVG, and you said, I had more in the tank there. You felt like you could have been closer to him in qualifying. One of the things I've noticed, I know you won in road courses in Xfinity, but in the Cup Series, it seems like since you stepped to this 19 car, you've had a ton of pace at these road courses. Have you done something differently? Been working behind the scenes on something for road courses? Is it these cars? What sort of changed your pace at these road courses to feel and be as close to a guy as you're describing as Michael Jordan is prime?
Yeah, I mean, the car, honestly, I don't really feel like I'm doing a whole lot different. I mean, certainly, going into this week, I was saying how this is my worst racetrack right now. I felt like the 19 team did a really good job of just trying to show me little things that Martin did that really kind of made him excel here. And I was trying to replicate that. But for the most part, honestly, it's just been kind of doing my typical deal. It just, the car has so much more pace and, balance. So it makes it really enjoyable. I'm just so honored and thankful that, I get to drive this 19 car with, Bass Pro Shops on his winner. I can't not thank Johnny Morris, JP Morris, just the entire Toyota family, Bass Pro Shops family, and obviously Joe Gibbs Racing for giving me this opportunity, because I'm certainly having the time of my life right now. It's fun, running week in and week out in the Cup Series and feeling like you have a shot to go win.
Thank you so much, Chase. This was your best finish on a road course, second, so congratulations on that. I know you wanted one better, but a great effort out there today. So thanks for joining us. Okay, someone else that's joining us. Speaking of Michael Jordan,
I know.
Which
That was great.
on cue. Of course, Chase Briscoe just kind of compared
Yeah.
Gisbergen to you heard it.
Yeah.
You finished sixth out there today and did transfer on and
Talking with Tyler Reddick now.
Okay, and obviously everyone chasing SVG.
Yeah, I never saw him, so I have no idea. We unfortunately kind of just slid backwards all day long. We just kind of really just fought balance. It seemed like throughout the day that was the thing that we were struggling with the most, and it's tough. I was slow enough on restarts where I really couldn't take care of my tires, and then I would pay for it later on. So yeah, it was just a really tough day in general. We got that caution at the end. We decided to fire tires on it, and we just got our way through the chaos every time we started.
You look mad. You mad? I don't know. Like I watched you walk up. I'm like, I don't know. You mad? Like, are you?
Yeah, it was a long day for sure.
Yeah, hot.
Yeah, I wouldn't say hot. It's just frustrating. You know what I mean? We come to the road courses and we expect to contend. But yeah, really, it makes it all fun.
But I feel like that is Tyler Reddick. I mean, even when you finish second, have a great run, or
Yes,
sometimes you win. I feel like you are so ultra hard on yourself and expect such great things, which is, I mean, that's why you race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were happy with, running the backside of the top,
It didn't need to ask the obvious. I was kind of being a little sarcastic. I'm sorry that everyone got so literal on right there.
I'm curious, so what was so difficult about today? We heard so many drivers struggling with tires like suddenly falling off, almost falling off the cliff at times. Was it just tough to even, if you treat them nicely, they still didn't work at the end of a run? Like, it seemed like everyone was fighting that together, but some suffered more than others.
I think it's balance related. If the balance was close, you could hang on to the tires a little longer. Again, everyone pushes so hard on these restarts, it's hard to take care of your tires and not lose spots that you'll just eventually have to try and get back when we burn up then too. So it's just a balance all day long. You try to run as hard as you can, or as easy as you can without losing spots, but for us all day long, that was the name of the game. We had to push too hard.
Look, there was a time when we first went to this car, you were a guy on the road course, right? Everyone talked about your braking. You haven't forgotten how to brake. You haven't changed that. What has changed? Like, has the setups evolved, and you don't feel like you guys have kept up with that? Is this maybe just not the best track for 2311? Like, what's different now than it was a couple of years ago?
The car's totally different. It has not even close to the same amount of downforce it used to then. The tires got a lot softer too. So as the things change, what it takes to go fast on one lap and go fast over the course of a tire run evolves as the car does.
Right.
I know this might not be the time, but we can't stop looking at the hair that you have going on. Is this like
Serious line made my man's line.
I mean, yeah, we're blind as well, and that hair may win you $1 million. Let's take a look at this. We'll look at the in-season challenge. Is that a good turn?
People talk about my hair all the time, Tyler, so I get it.
Is this a full head of hair?
I really offer you $1 million.
Every time we see it underneath his baseball cap, we can't help but wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of hair. Yeah,
He's like, don't talk to me about this.
Your wife is good with that.
No, I don't know.
Oh, wow. And you still keep it. Yeah. Give that a little time. That'll change.
Yeah.
All right.
And next week's gonna be a good matchup though. Me and Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Oh, shit. I think he.
I don't know. Two evenly matched cars. Obviously we work very close together. I have a feeling we're gonna be around each other all day long. It's gonna be a long battle.
It'd be fun. It's fun to watch.
I have Tyler Reddick winning it all, so I'm technically still
Wow.
ahead. Yeah, I do.
Well done.
There you go. How about that?
That'd be great.
Shannon knows how to butter him up.
Yeah, wow.
I do.
Like he handpicked the guest or
He's
something.
like, can I go now? Yes, you can. Thank
All right,
you
guys.
very much
Thanks,
for
Tyler.
joining
Appreciate
us.
it.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler Reddick really wanted to be up on stage with those guys. He seems very pissed off, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to kick Jamie McMurray's ass there for a little bit. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad we got to witness that on the channel. We usually don't get the longer extended interviews with drivers, but we were a little bit longer on this post-race show following the finish of today's Toyota Save Mart 350. Thank you for everybody tuning in and staying tuned in even for our post-race show. We did get over 100 likes on the stream, so thank you for that. As I refresh the page, we got 109, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend, Cup Xfinity, truck races, Cup practice and qualifying, all for races I don't go to in person. Next week, Dover. Truck Series is off for the third consecutive week, so we will have 3 live commentary streams. And we'll start things off on Saturday afternoon with Cup Series practice and qualifying at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. So again, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Saturday will be the next live commentary stream. The Xfinity Cup Series will head to Dover. So that is where they will be racing. And the Xfinity Series race will be at 4:30 p.m. Eastern following Cup practice and qualifying. It's a doubleheader Saturday. Sunday, 400 miles at the Monster Mile, Dover, Delaware for the NASCAR Cup side. And hope to see you for that one as well. 1:30 start time there. So 1:30 Saturday and Sunday for Cup content on the channel. 4:30 Eastern on Saturday for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, watching this live commentary stream, as well as many others throughout the season. Hope to see you again next time. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your Sunday evening. Again, congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen for winning the NASCAR Cup Series Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma. Have a good night, everyone.